Chapter 350. Chi of Huang Quan. This is a samsara divine skill. No, don't even think about it. The Zishan young master's expression changed, then formed a hand seal. Hundreds of thousands of fireballs suddenly appear behind him, emitting a terrifying heat. Go! With a shout, thousands of fireballs flew towards Hundred Flowers Fairy. With such a rapid and intense barrage, Hundred Flowers Fairy used ground shrink twice in a row, but still couldn't completely escape. Hundred Flowers Fairy had no choice but to stop her technique and quickly retreat. Got you! The Zishan young master released a flaming serpent that charged towards Hundred Flowers Fairy. The flaming serpent opened its mouth to bite Hundred Flowers Fairy. Hundred Flowers Fairy suddenly disappeared. Divine skill? I also have one. The Zishan young master smirked. His hands quickly formed a hand seal. 5 elemental divine skill. Flame Dragon Devour. A flaming magma dragon descended from the sky, heading straight for Hundred Flowers Fairy. When a magma dragon came down, Hundred Flowers Fairy had only just reappeared from the void of space, unable to use ground shrink again. A series of fierce attacks and a perfect timing. This was a virtualized realm cultivator's full power attack, as well as the strongest attack the Zishan young master has ever unleashed. In the sky, Gu Qingshan's blood froze as he watched. No, he muttered. Hundred Flowers Fairy only had time to look up at the flaming magma dragon. As the Zishan young master formed the hand seal, the ground suddenly shook. A blinding light suddenly appeared, scattered into over a dozen sprites of light that flew to the sky. As soon as the flaming magma dragon appeared, the sprites of light circled around Hundred Flowers Fairy, giving off a blinding red glow. The exquisite black and red armor was worn by Hundred Flowers Fairy. As the flaming magma dragon crashed into the armor, it scattered and turned into a rain of fire. A layer of light enveloped Hundred Flowers Fairy, making her completely unharmed. Thank you. Why are you here? Hundred Flowers Fairy panted slightly. Defense is my forte. I've decided to fight alongside you. A female voice came from the primordial raging flame battle armor. Can you block it for me for 10 seconds? Hundred Flowers Fairy asked. What do you want to do? The wild raging flame battle armor asked. No matter how I think about it, this is the only spell that might be able to kill him. High in the sky, this girl has such a divine skill. Qing Ro exclaimed in shock. So what if it's a godly skill? We also have divine skills, but aren't we? One stared at the ground and said, It's different. You don't understand. This is a samsara divine skill, a fundamental law. As long as it's used successfully, karma will follow. Qi Yin will have to be careful no matter how strong he is. Qing Ro's eyes showed signs of struggle. Qi Yin is the Zishan young master's name. A second later, sure enough, the Zishan young master formed a hand seal and once again shot out thousands of fireballs, interrupting Hundred Flowers Fairy. With such low cultivation, how could she know such a spell? He doubtfully asked. Apparently, one of the two worlds is a bit unique. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been able to produce such a divine skill. As the fireballs flew towards her, Hundred Flowers Fairy had no choice but to let go of her hand seal and dodge. Qi Yin is afraid of this. Qing Ro's eyes lit up. She twisted her fingers tightly together as she thought quickly in her mind. With a Tiama Empress, a divine armor spirit, and a samsara divine skill, this is the most hopeful chance. This might be the only chance for revenge. Qing Ro put her hands on Wan'er's shoulder and spoke seriously. I'll go down to help. You stay here, big sis. If you fail, you'll be beyond redemption, Wan'er hurriedly said. If I fail, I'll kill myself on the spot. Even my soul will self-destruct. I won't give them another chance to torture me, Qing Ro said. Just stay here. If I don't succeed, at least you'll be able to live. She hugged Wan'er and flew down without looking back. Her speed was getting faster and faster, getting closer and closer to the battlefield. Wan'er looked at the chains on her body and then at the battle below. She was so anxious that she didn't know what to do. At least I'll be able to live. At least I'll be able to live. She kept muttering that over and over again, then suddenly stopped. Live? Am I going to be treated like a slave, living a life worse than eating? Big sis, I'd rather have my soul vessel destroyed than live such a painful life, she muttered, clasped her hands together, and formed a hand seal, exuding spirit energy. Huh. Wanner's face turned red as she cried out in a tender voice. Prison suppression lock technique released. Yeah, let me go, I need. The wind around her body was so intense that the chains around her were actually shaken off a bit. Freedom. Wanner circulated the spirit energy she had been saving for several years and shouted, even if it's only for a little while, I need freedom. Clang, clang, clang. She finally broke free from the chains. Powerful spirit energy waves appeared around Wanner's body. She turned into a streak of light and chased after Qingro. Behind her, the chains slowly followed her, descending from the sky. On the other side, Gu Qingshan was soaked in cold sweat, finally regaining her breath. It was fortunate that the wild raging flame armor appeared in time. Otherwise, if that 5-elemental divine skill struck Hundred Flowers Fairy, she would have been heavily wounded even if she didn't die. The two sides were still in a stalemate. This was because Hundred Flowers Fairy's fighting skills were too powerful. The Zishan young master hadn't used his full strength yet. But even so, there was still a large realm between projection realm and virtualized realm. The difference in strength was too great. How can I win? There's no hope. Hundred Flowers Fairy was slipping closer and closer to her death. Time was slowly moving towards that moment. Gu Qingshan had never felt so anxious before, so she couldn't help but shout, "How much longer until you're ready?" The black-clothed girl circulated her demonic flames and answered in a low voice, "This isn't the Tiamat world, so it won't be that fast. I need a bit more time to prepare." Gu Qingshan held back her impatience and looked around. The void flowers were manifesting one after another, but the speed at which they appeared was extremely slow. He asked in a low voice, "I know you're the Tiamat Lord. Don't you have a way to speed up this spell?" "There's a way, but there aren't any other living beings around. We can't extract divine power, and my own divine power is too strong. I can't use it in this world, otherwise I'll be ejected from this world," the black-clothed girl quickly answered. Divine power again. What exactly is divine power? Gu Qingshan finally couldn't help but ask. During the Sea of Swords, the wild raging flame armor used divine power to empower the entire Sea of Swords, which used up all of her own divine power. And now the Tiamat Empress is also talking about divine power. So what exactly is this? The black-clothed girl answered, "It's useless even if you know. Divine power is the most fundamental power of all living beings. It comes from the origin of the soul." Gu Qingshan's mind went blank. I feel like I've heard this explanation somewhere before. What exactly is soul points? The most fundamental power of all living beings comes from the origin of the soul. When he had to choose between using soul points or EXP to level up, the system had given him an explanation for soul points. Divine power? Soul points? Tiamat needs soul points? You mean soul points? He couldn't help but ask. Soul points was what the old divinities called power. Now we call it divine power, the black-clothed girl continued. That's right, soul points is the most fundamental power of all living beings. It comes from the origin of the soul. It has endless uses. I have soul points, Gu Qingshan said. Of course you have divine power. The black-clothed girl quickly glanced at him. All living beings have divine power, but a single person's divine power is limited. It's not enough. How much soul points do you need? Gu Qingshan asked. At least 500 divine power to speed it up, the black-clothed girl replied. You're a rejuvenation realm cultivator. You'll only have 200 divine power at most. You'll die if I take them all out, and it still won't be enough. Gu Qingshan glanced at his soul points. The current soul points limit is indeed 200. He couldn't help but ask, I can't have more than 200. Of course not. Only when you advance to Ascended Realm will your divine power increase accordingly. Other than that, there's no other way. Unless you're an extremely unique existence. Every living being's soul points limit is fixed. There won't be any more than that. This is the origin law of the infinite worlds. It can't be wrong, the black-clothed girl replied. Gu Qingshan silently nodded and said, Use my soul points. You don't want to live anymore? Use it. You'll die. I'll only use it. Very well. Put your hand on mine. Their hands were touching each other. A line of text appeared on the War God UI. The Tiamat Empress requests to absorb your soul points. How much soul points are you willing to pay for her use? After breaking through Rejuvenation Realm twice, Gu Qingshan still had quite a bit of soul points left. He glanced at his soul points again to make sure his eyes weren't deceiving him. She said she needs at least 500 soul points right now. Then, I'll give you 600. Pay 600 soul points. Gu Qingshan said. 600 soul points paid. Remaining soul points split second. An immense amount of soul points flowed into the black-clothed girl's hand. Their hands created an irresistible repulsive force. The shockwave sent the black-clothed girl flying a few feet away, blowing her hair and clothes into a mess. Her expression was full of disbelief. You have so much divine power. This is Sainted Realm soul points. Who exactly are you? Although she was talking to Gu Qingshan, her hands didn't stop moving at all. As she formed a hand seal, the void of space itself collapsed. Hundreds of thousands of void flowers appeared in front of them at the same time. The Tiamat vase let out a resounding boom. In the blink of an eye, the spell was completed. This is the wondrous effect of soul points, able to change the laws, able to ignore causality. This is what we Tiamat have always been chasing after the black-clothed girl had an indescribable glow on her face. Very well, Gu Qingshan formed a hand seal and said, Now it's our turn. Below the sky, rumble, rumble. The ground was blown apart by the flames. 100 Flowers Fairy once again hid in the sky. The primordial raging flame battle armor emitted waves of blazing light, which completely protected her. Thanks to the wild raging flame armor, 100 Flowers Fairy hasn't been wounded since just now. But the exhaustion of spirit energy and stamina is intense, and there's no time to replenish it. The situation has changed. Not only do I want you, I want your divine skill as well. The Zishan young master looked at 100 Flowers Fairy like he was looking at a rare treasure. 100 Flowers Fairy said, Leave this world. As long as you swear a heavenly oath to never tell anyone about this world and never come here again, I can consider using my spell to exchange for the peace of this world. The Zishan young master refused. No, this world is mine, and your world is also mine, he then asked. You really don't want to consider becoming my maid? I'll treat you well, and you'll be the only one who can survive in your world. 100 Flowers Fairy scowled. It's not because of anything else, but because your expression is so perverted that it makes me feel disgusted. The Zishan young master was stunned for a while before reacting. Perverted? Ever since he was born, no one has ever dared to use such a word on him. He opened his hand. A ball of gray fire was quietly burning in his hand. From now on, you will no longer enjoy any preferential treatment, the Zishan young master coldly said. He finally got serious and decided to use his full strength. I'll kill you first, then capture your soul and place 32 restrictions on it. Then I'll put it back in your body and let you live in endless pain. Saying so, he was about to jump forward. A beautiful woman in white slowly flew down from the sky, landing next to the Zishan young master. The Zishan young master was surprised. HM? Qingro, why are you here? Young master, I'm here to help you, Qingro said. She gave the gourd to the Zishan young master and landed next to him. The Zishan young master's expression softened a bit, speaking with a gentle voice. That's more like it. His words were stuck in his mouth. Qingro put one hand on his shoulder. The other hand formed a hand seal, channeling all of her power. Intense spirit energy waves began to spread from her body. The chains scattered with a loud rumble. In that short amount of time, her aura was only a bit weaker than the Zishan young master's. From the looks of it, she really is a Tribulation Realm cultivator. A second later, four ghosts appeared from the void of space, opening their jaws and biting the Zishan young master's arms and legs. Shadow divine skill. Hungry ghosts forbidden. Qingro shouted 100 Flowers Fairy. Hurry, I can't hold on much longer. While she was talking, 100 Flowers Fairy's hands were already clasped together. 100 Flowers Fairy was fully focused on forming the hand seal. A bright green light once again appeared on her hands. The Zishan young master struggled a bit, only to find that he was being bitten by 4 ghosts, unable to move at all. He suddenly laughed out loud. I was wondering why you were so obedient to me. Turns out you've been secretly accumulating spirit energy all these years, waiting to use it on me. Very well. Today I'll make sure you accept your fate. He stood in place without moving. However, a protective talisman flew up and emitted a vast spiritual light, enveloping him within. Guangyang Sek's only spirit banishing talisman, capable of escaping all spells below virtualized realm, the Zishan young master pridefully said. As soon as the talisman shone on the 4 ghosts, they all howled in pain and disappeared without a trace. But before the Zishan young master could move, another soft hand pressed on his shoulder. Wanner landed on the ground and shouted, "Soul lock!" In a split second, 5 chains covered in green flames flew out from the ground, circled around the Zishan young master's body a few times, restraining his head, hands, and feet. Hell, suppressing divine skill, 100 Ghost Soul Lock. As soon as the spell was cast, the Zishan young master roared in anger. Boiling spirit energy erupted from his body, causing the talisman to shine brightly. Chapter 351. Wan'er's face paled, desperately channeling her spirit energy. Big Sis Ching Ro, I don't have enough spirit energy to fight him. I'll help you. Ching Ro flew forward, infusing her spirit energy without holding anything back. At this moment, Ching Ro put her hand on Wan'er's back, while Wan'er put her hand on the Zishan young master's shoulder. Working together, the two of them finally managed to stabilize the green flame chain, tightly coiling around the Zishan young master. The 3 of them worked together, finally stabilizing the green flame chain and tightly coiled around the Zishan young master. The talisman that was floating in the air started to crack. No! The Zishan young master's expression changed. Against 2 divine skills in a row, and the second divine skill had quite a bit of history, the talisman couldn't stop it no matter how strong it was. With a crack, the talisman broke apart. Bitch, no wonder you could hide spirit energy, so you're an expert in the prison sealing technique. The Zishan young master gloomily spoke. Wan'er loudly spoke. I originally didn't know it, but Big Sis Zi was tortured to death by you. So before she died, she imparted this technique to me. This is what they mean by karma. Ching Ro muttered in a low voice. Ah, what a good karma, but I'll have to disappoint you, the Zishan young master spoke. A small formation plate appeared from his body, letting out a blinding light. This is a 2-world warp formation plate that my father gave me. I only need a single thought to activate it. After 15 breaths worth of time, I'll be able to return. I'll immediately bring more people to take your lives one by one. I'll capture your souls. Make you forever suffer, break, grind. He begrudgingly shouted, almost spitting out each word through gritted teeth. The small formation plate was blinking, moving back and forth, as if trying to find a way to break through the world. Ching Ro gritted her teeth, took out a snow-white dagger, and stabbed it towards the Zishan young master. Another talisman flew out by itself, turning into a heavy shield to stop her. Umitba. Suddenly, a golden light appeared from afar, appearing in front of the Zishan young master. The great monk of sorrow appeared, striking the Zishan young master with his palm. Several dozen talismans appeared from the Zishan young master's body, glowing as they flew towards the great monk of sorrow. Bam! The golden light was sent flying, disappearing in front of them at an even faster speed. It's useless. You can't hurt me. I have thousands of protective talismans. The Zishan young master laughed out loud. Suddenly, the world darkened. The surging river swept across the sky. The small boat came from the sky, and the graceful woman stood at the stern of the boat. As she rowed the boat, she turned her head to look at them. The surging waters of the river of forgetfulness, the Yellow Springs ferryman. The Zishan young master's expression changed. An attack-type divine skill of the 6 paths. Oh no, he hurriedly looked at the small formation plate, only to see that the formation plate was still accumulating power. He then tried to break free from the chains, but under the full power of two Tribulation Realm cultivators, the hell-suppressing divine skill couldn't be shaken. Juan looked at the river and felt a little nervous. She quietly asked, "Sister, what is this?" "Just watch. Don't say anything." Qingro was also a bit worried. He couldn't kill Qi Yin no matter what, and Qi Yin was obviously afraid of this samsara divine skill. Now, he could only rely on this move. The faint green flames in the skeleton girl's eye socket scanned through everyone and asked from afar, "How many people do you want to ferry this time?" "Time is of the essence. Please help me ferry this person to Huang Quan," 100 Flowers Fairy said. The skeleton girl looked at the Zishan young master and said, "A virtualized realm cultivator is expensive to ferry. I'll pay any price," 100 Flowers Fairy said. "Pay all of your life force. Then suffer in hell for 1,000 years. Only then will I be able to invite him on the boat," the skeleton girl said. 100 Flowers Fairy went silent. Qingro and Wan Air looked at her nervously. So that's what it is. 100 Flowers Fairy muttered. Qing Shan, Xiao Xiao, Xiao Lushi sighed. "If I don't enter hell, who will?" As she spoke, all of her fine black hair turned snow white. All of the Sainted Realm's life force was gathered by 100 Flowers Fairy into a cluster of emerald light and held it in her hands. She muttered, "Then let's do it this way." The skeleton girl's eyes burned even brighter, waiting for what she was going to say next. At this crucial moment, a thunderous roar resounded across heaven and earth. "Shut up." Everyone looked up. Gu Qingshan flew down like a streak of light. His speed had reached its peak. A vase exuding demonic aura followed closely behind him. Qingshan, 100 Flowers Fairy looked at him in surprise. "Leave it to me. Don't activate it no matter what." Gu Qingshan shouted. 100 Flowers Fairy was a bit surprised, looked at the cluster of emerald light in her hands, a bit hesitant. "Trust me," Gu Qingshan shouted at the top of her lungs. "Qingshan," 100 Flowers Fairy muttered and retracted the cluster of emerald light in her hands. Her hair returned to its original black color. At the moment of life and death for the entire world, she chose to trust him without holding anything back. The forgetting river in the sky slowly faded away. Qingro and Wan Air looked at Gu Qingshan. The skeleton girl in the sky also stared at him, muttering, "So many demons." Seeing 100 Flowers Fairy dispelling the spell in her hands, Gu Qingshan finally sighed in relief. According to the giant corpse, this was probably the most crucial moment, the most crucial push. No matter what I have to face after this, as long as 100 Flowers Fairy is alive, it doesn't matter. He calmed himself down and looked at the formation plate in front of the Zishan young master. The formation plate was lightly hitting the void of space. Not good. I have to run. I have to make it in time. Otherwise, everything will be for naught. Infusing spirit energy into the vase, Gu Qingshan shouted, "Let's do it, got it." A female voice came from the void of space. Wraith Realm chilling Aqua de Chira, dispel. The black-clothed girl appeared next to Gu Qingshan. One human and one demon, chanting the incantation at the same time. 10 worlds, boundless specks of dust, trillions of Asangji's tribulation, countless Mahasvara Tianma, encircle. After chanting the incantation, countless Tianma appeared behind the two of them. Millions of Tianma were led by Gu Qingshan and the black-clothed girl. Perhaps it was because they knew the situation was urgent. They quickly followed Gu Qingshan and chanted the incantation. Mahasvara, great Mahasvara, Mahasvara, Tianma enchantresses of all worlds, help me connect to this world. The Tianma's bodies began to give off black light, strand by strand. They all flew into the vase. As soon as the vase received the black light, it started to shake. "Ah-ha-ha! No matter what you want to do, it's already too late," the Zishan young master loudly declared. He seemed to finally be able to breathe out. But then, what exactly is going on the other side? Why were there so many stunning beauties wearing such revealing and seductive clothes falling from the sky? Could it be that in that world, female cultivators of this level are everywhere? He was now completely relaxed, greedily staring at the Tianma one by one. The formation plate hovered in front of him, crashing into the void of space and creating a hole. On the other side of the hole, chaotic air currents were being carried by the wind. That was the space vortex connecting to another world. The passage between the two worlds was slowly forming. In just 3 breaths worth of time, the Zishan young master would be able to warp away. But Gu Shan and the millions of Tianma with the vase were still very far away. There was no way they could make it in time. No matter what kind of powerful spell he used next, he wouldn't be able to hurt the Zishan young master. Very soon, the Zishan young master will bring even more powerful cultivators to Shenwu world. Perhaps they might even attack the cultivation world. The fate of both worlds was at stake. At the same time, "It's too late, Wan Air, let go," Qing Ro dejectedly said. If they don't let go, the two of them will be transported back to the other world together with the Zishan young master. No, no, no. It shouldn't be like this. Wan Air frantically shook her head. Qing Ro stayed silent, tears flowing down her cheeks. Her hand was on Wan Air's back, while Wan Air's hand was on the Zishan young master's shoulder. Wan Air was still using all of her power to control the green flame chains, restraining the other party. Wan Air was about to lose all hope, but until the very last moment, she still wouldn't give up. At the same time, the vase in Gu Qingshan's hand was letting out a gentle glow. Within the glow, there were indescribable screams of pain. Occasionally, terrifying figures would circle around the vase and disappear. Tianma's teleportation is complete, but the distance is too far. I won't make it in time. The black-clothed girl regretfully shook her head. No, I'll definitely make it in time. Prepare to catch him. Gu Qingshan's eyes were bloodshot as she shouted. At this point, the black-clothed girl knew that he wouldn't say anything careless. She regained her focus and became serious. You're planning to. She didn't finish. Gu Qingshan disappeared with the vase. Divine skill, ground shrink. However, he immediately reappeared and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Zishan young master laughed. Do you really think I'm an idiot? I've already activated 300 defensive spells to protect myself. The void of space is filled with countless defensive spells. You won't be able to get through. The two maids' eyes dimmed. 100 Flowers Fairy didn't move, still staring at him. The black-clothed girl sighed. Gu Qingshan wiped the blood from his mouth and gritted his teeth. There's no other way. I can only. In a single breath's time, the fate of the two worlds changed drastically. Gu Qingshan disappeared in front of the black-clothed girl. He was still holding the vase in his hand, flying forward. But a second later, he disappeared. Instead, the Zishan young master appeared. The Zishan young master appeared in front of the vase. The Zishan young master noticed that his hand was still on the vase. He was completely stunned, unable to react to what just happened. But the black-clothed girl didn't lose focus at all. She's traveled across many worlds, experienced countless wars. How could she miss such a chance? In a split second, she touched the vase with her hand and formed a hand seal. The vase glowed brightly. Demonic world shuttle. Like a mouth, the glowing light swallowed the Zishan young master along with the countless defensive lights on his body. The Zishan young master disappeared. He was sent to the Tianma realm by the Tianma vase. On the other side, Gu Qingshan replaced the Zishan young master and appeared where he originally stood. Divine skill, shadow shift. Perhaps sensing a slight fluctuation in space, the small formation plate was disturbed by the divine skill and began to shine brightly. It activated 1 breath's time earlier. At this time, Wan Air's hand was on Gu Qingshan's shoulder, while Qing Ro's hand was on Wan Air's back. The light flashed. Gu Qingshan, Wan Air, and Qing Ro disappeared. They were brought into the space vortex by the formation plate, heading towards the Zishan young master's world. In a split second, the entire situation changed. The battle between the 3 worlds came to an abrupt end. The Zishan young master, Gu Qingshan, Qing Ro, and Wan Air were all transported away. Chapter 352. The blinding light faded away. The gloomy space tunnel and the sunset glow of the Tianma world both disappeared from Shenwu world. Only 100 Flowers Fairy and the black-clothed girl were left in this part of the sky. Both of them were extremely intelligent beings, so they quickly guessed what had happened. 100 Flowers Fairy instantly disappeared and reappeared where the space tunnel originally was. She formed a hand seal and said, "Open." The void of space opened up again in her hand. The chaotic air currents continued to flow. But this space had just been warped between two worlds, so it was very slow for it to open again. 100 Flowers Fairy stood inside the chaotic air currents, letting the intense wind blow her hair, but her eyes showed a bit of worry. "Open!" She circulated all the spirit energy in her body and shouted. Ho ho ho! The chaotic air currents once again opened up a passage in the void of space. But there was nothing inside. No formation plate. The two Tribulation Realm female cultivators with their cultivation sealed were nowhere to be seen. No Gu Qing Shan. 100 Flowers Fairy froze in place. "It's useless. That formation plate is too fast. If you can't keep up, you'll be lost in the void of space and won't even be able to find your way back," the black-clothed girl said. The void of space closed up again. 100 Flowers Fairy stayed silent. The black-clothed girl shook her head, looking at the vase in her hand. The look of regret on her face disappeared without a trace. She hugged the earthenware jar in her arms, unwilling to let it go. Her eyes were filled with joy. A few moments later, she begrudgingly glared at where Gu Qing Shan disappeared. "That sly girl. She still hasn't given me the two-world warp formation plate." But Gu Qing Shan had already gone to another world, so no matter how angry she was, there was nothing she could do. It was better to grab the spoils of war in front of her. The black-clothed girl took the vase and was about to return to her world. "Wait a minute," from afar, 100 Flowers Fairy called out. The black-clothed girl stopped. "I know you, the Tiamat Empress incarnation, but even you can't go to that world?" 100 Flowers Fairy asked. The black-clothed girl glanced at her and slowly shook her head. "You have a good disciple." The black-clothed girl stared deeply at the 100 Flowers Fairy. "As a projection realm cultivator, the inertia of fate is already very strong. It shouldn't be able to be changed, but you were actually pushed out from the abyss of death by an unknown force. I can see that the deathly aura on your body has completely dissipated. Your future path is completely empty. This emptiness is waiting for you to rewrite everything and create new variables. This is truly a rare situation. Is he really just a disciple? Can he do this for you?" She suddenly asked. "You don't have to affect my mind," 100 Flowers Fairy said. The black-clothed girl smiled and said, "Sister, I didn't do anything." She continued, "I didn't deceive you. I have a Tiamat divine armament and a virtualized realm cultivator's soul. I'm satisfied this time. I've never heard of a Tiamat who would talk to someone for so long without any ulterior motives," 100 Flowers Fairy said. The black-clothed girl muttered to herself, "I actually allied with a human cultivator to trap an enemy. Something like this has never happened in the Tiamat world for over 10,000 years. So I just couldn't help but tell you something." "What is it?" "My payment for my appearance. He still owes me a world. If he ever returns, please notify me. I'll collect the debt. When will he return?" 100 Flowers Fairy asked. "How would I know? But if someone can come from that world, as long as he knows that method, he'll naturally be able to return," the black-clothed girl answered. 100 Flowers Fairy's hands and her sleeves finally loosened. Looking at the black-clothed girl, she suddenly displayed a hint of killing intent. "Do you really want my disciple's soul?" "His soul?" The black-clothed girl had a complicated expression on her face and mused. A mere rejuvenation realm cultivator was able to use everything he had to kill a virtualized realm cultivator. How could I possibly eat him? "Then what do you want?" "I want to eat his soul. I'll ask him if he's willing to turn into a Tiamat monarch and work for our Tiamat world." Saying so, the black-clothed girl turned to leave. She suddenly stopped. 100 Flowers Fairy's killing intent boiled as she swung her hand to summon a spiky vine. "Prove yourself. Otherwise, I won't let go of a Tianma who covets my disciple's life." As her voice fell, white flowers bloomed on the thorny vines. The black-clothed girl looked at the wild raging flame armor on 100 Flowers Fairy's body, then at the vine. Her expression became solemn. An Azura divine skill, another Samsara divine skill. How strange, she muttered. Such a low realm, yet able to use the causality divine skills of both the Huang Quan and Azura realms. What kind of world would it take? The whip had already begun to swing. The black-clothed girl's expression changed and waved her hand. Stop! I'll prove it. The black-clothed girl glanced at the millions of Tianma behind her, then at Hundred Flowers Fairy. She's alone, yet she dares to fight against so many at once. What kind of courage is that? The black-clothed girl's expression became serious. With her countless years of experience, she could naturally tell that the other party was currently in a state of emotional turmoil. If they were to fight right now, the other party would definitely go all out. There's also something else. The young man called Gu Qingshan is definitely worthy of being turned into a Tianma. Not to mention, I still need to rely on that young man to lead me into that world. Continuing to tangle with this terrifying woman who isn't particularly powerful isn't a good thing. With that in mind, the black-clothed girl declared, with heaven and earth as my witness, I definitely won't harm Gu Qingshan's life. Such a simple statement, but it contained the words with heaven and earth as my witness. This was a vow made by heaven and earth. Tianma follow their desires, even more fearful of the consequences of breaking a vow than cultivators. Saying so, the black-clothed girl looked at her, only to see the killing intent in Hundred Flowers Fairy's limpid eyes slowly dissipating. Hundred Flowers Fairy swung her whip behind her back, curtsied, and spoke. If that's the case, no matter what kind of agreement you made, as long as you don't harm him, I will thank you for your help this time. The black-clothed girl smiled in surprise and sighed emotionally. It's been so many years since I've seen a cultivator who could distinguish kindness and grudges as clearly as you. She also bowed slightly, returned the greeting, and said, farewell. Rays of light appeared from behind the black-clothed girl's back, overlapping over each other like a veil of mist. The black-clothed girl turned around and spoke to the Tianma. All of you return to the Tianma realm. A virtualized realm cultivator's soul is waiting for us to harvest. As long as you can capture him, I will give you a portion of his soul, she loudly declared. The Tianma all screamed in excitement. A virtualized realm cultivator's soul, even if it's just a tiny bit, would be enough to help them advance a step further. They circled around the vase, fluttered, and entered the light. As the black-clothed girl stepped into the light, she suddenly turned around to carefully observe Hundred Flowers Fairy. Is there anything else? Hundred Flowers Fairy asked. The black-clothed girl pursed her lips and shook her head. She suddenly began to sing. Orchids in the dark, lonely and helpless. There must be love, but there is no hope. The voice faded away, but countless beautiful Tianma enchantresses began to sing at the same time. Orchids in the dark, lonely and helpless. There must be love, but there is no hope. The sky was filled with female voices, as if they were greeting a peerless beauty. As the black-clothed girl finished singing, she melted into the light and disappeared. Countless Tianma followed behind, retreating from Shunwu world. As the light faded, so did the singing. Chapter 353. In the wind, Hundred Flowers Fairy's muttering could be heard. This can't go on. If something like this happens again, I won't be able to do anything about it. She put away the thorny vine whip and looked at her hand. Green as jade, flawless. But such a pair of hands couldn't control her own fate. She clenched her hands into a fist. In this life, the one thing I, Xie Dao Ling, fear the least is cultivation. While Hundred Flowers Fairy was thinking, a female voice came from next to her. What do you intend to do? It was the wild raging flame armor who asked. Fuse your world with my world. What do you think? Hundred Flowers Fairy replied. The wild raging flame armor agreed. All living beings in my world are dead, but if we fuse it with your world, the weapon spirits will be able to recognize a new master. This way, the weapon spirits will have a chance to advance one step further. If that's the case, it'll also be a boost to our cultivator's strength, by Hua Fairy said. My world also has countless secret scriptures, as well as cultivation methods to break through. Even the scriptures for you to reach virtualized realm are complete, the wild raging flame armor said. Then we have a deal, 100 Flowers Fairy said. Very well, the wild raging flame armor agreed. One person and one armor. In just a few words, they decided the fate of two worlds. Monk, she loudly called out. Ba. I'm here. A dim golden light came from afar. I'll leave the matter of fusing the worlds to you. What about you? I'm going into seclusion to break through to a higher realm, Siet Dao Ling explained. We can't just sit around waiting to be slaughtered, and I just happen to have a few battle insights. As long as I have time to go into seclusion, I'll definitely be able to advance one step further. The great monk of sorrow looked at by Hua, Fairy Siet Dao Ling in shock. How long has it been? And she's already breaking through again. Ba, benefactor Sia's talent is unparalleled. This old monk is ashamed of his own inferiority, the great monk of sorrow said a bit blankly. Ba, don't underestimate yourself too much. You're just a bit old, the bowl consoled him. The alms bowl flew up and flew toward a certain direction. Sorrow, I know how to fuse worlds together. Come with me, it said. The great monk of sorrow followed closely behind. 100 Flowers Fairy watched them leave and asked, What are your plans? The primordial raging flame battle armor said, From the moment you put on me, I recognized you as my master. 100 Flowers Fairy's eyes were filled with warmth. Then follow me into seclusion. All right. Gu Qingshan was shuttling through the space-time turbulence. Every time he broke through a major realm, his soul would leave his body and enter the space-time turbulence. But it was different this time. This time, his real body had entered the space-time turbulence. The small formation plate in front gave off a hazy light that enveloped the three of them, and they flew in a certain direction. The green flame chains had long since dispersed. The two women were in a very dispirited state, and the shackles that imprisoned them once again sealed their spiritual power. Was that shadow shift just now? Qingro stared closely at Gu Qingshan and asked. Yes, Gu Qingshan answered. You and the Tiamat Empress sent Qi Yan into the Tiamat world? Qingro continued to ask. Yes, Gu Qingshan answered. It was now that Qingro sighed in relief, clasped her hands in front of her chest, and muttered, The Tiamat world is a sealed world. The Tiamat would definitely not let go of such a powerful soul like him, which means Qi Yan is dead for sure. Two streams of tears flowed down her cheeks. Wan Er hesitantly asked, Big sis, what are you saying? Qingro turned around and hugged her, sobbing as she spoke. Wan Er, Qi Yan was sent to a place of certain death. He's dead. He's dead. Really? You're not lying to me? Wan Er asked in disbelief. What happened just now was exactly as the two of them said, but she still couldn't be sure. I'm not lying. Qingro wiped her tears. I swear on my Tao heart, if I'm lying to you, may my soul vessel be destroyed. He's dead. Wan Er finally confirmed it. Her eyes were blank as she spoke. She suddenly burst into tears, sobbing, Father, Mother, I'm alive. I've avenged you. Qingro hugged her. She also hugged Qingro, both of them crying. Gu Qingshan originally wanted to say something, but seeing the two of them like this, she could only silently stand on one side. After crying for a while, Qingro turned to him. Perhaps you don't know how important what you've done is to us, but that's fine. I'll tell you later, she continued to sob. Don't worry, there's still a bit of time before we reach the other world. Let us cry for a bit first. All right, Gu Qingshan replied. Qingro nodded, then began to cry again. It was as if she had suffered so much humiliation that she wanted to vent out all the grievances she'd been hiding in her heart for the past few years. Wan Er cried even harder, tears and snot flowing down her face. The two Tribulation Realm cultivators were crying like little girls. After a while, they finally calmed down. Qingro held Wan Er's hand, walked in front of Gu Qingshan, and knelt down to greet her. Qingro spoke. Nen Gong Qingro, Wan Er spoke. I am Yin Wan Er, Nen Gong Qingro spoke. We came from different worlds, but both of our worlds were taken over by Guangyang sect. Our family members died at the hands of Qi Yin and his father, while our worlds were fused into Guangyang sect's grotto heaven. Because Yin Wan Er and I were too beautiful, our cultivations were sealed, and we became Qi Yan slaves, living a life worse than death every day. Today, You borrowed the power of the Tianma to kill him. One heir, and I have no way to repay you, but will definitely find a way to let you live. Yin Wan heir also nodded. Thank you for killing him for me. Even if I die later, I won't have any regrets. The two girls exchanged glances and understood each other's intentions. That's why, when we get there, we'll use our life-risking techniques to attack Guangyang sect, creating chaos so that you can escape. Qing Ro spoke. Yin Wan Air spoke. South of Guangyang sect is by Yin River. You'll hide in the river, float along with the current, and find a way to leave Guangyang sect. They won't be able to find you. Nan Gong Qing Ro spoke. You'll be able to live after changing your name. You'll be able to cultivate while looking for a chance to return to your own world, she added. Don't worry, after we kill a few Guangyang sect disciples, we'll immediately detonate our soul vessel. We won't let Shi Yan's father catch you and expose your existence. Wait. Gu Qingshan felt a headache coming and couldn't help but ask, are we going to have to risk our lives after we warp over? Nan Gong Qingro replied, you're not a disciple of Guangyang sect, and you're only a rejuvenation realm cultivator. You'll be captured as soon as you meet them. They won't hold back. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then asked, what about Qi Yin? What do you mean? Yin Wan couldn't help but ask, what if the one we meet is Qi Yin? Nan Gong Qingro was a smart girl, looked at him and answered, he's the son of Guangyang sect's master. No one dares to offend him. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then remembered Lung Tianxing's evaluation of himself. These two girls also said the same thing. He said, I seen a look a bit similar to Qi Yin. The two beauties froze. You mean? Nan Gong Qingro's eyes lit up. Gu Qingshan nodded. They're so strong. Fighting them head-on is the same as seeking death. Why would we need to fight them? He looked at the two girls and slowly spoke. I hope you won't talk about death so easily. You should live on for the sake of your dead family members. That way you won't have to bear the humiliation you've endured for so long. Yin Wan still didn't understand and said, if we can all live, that would be great, but we can't deal with so many high-ranking cultivators of Guangyang sect. Nangong Qingro looked at him and smirked. I have an immature idea. Seeing that Nangong Qingro seemed to understand a bit, Gu Qingshan smiled. Can you cooperate with me a bit? Nangong Qingro nodded. I'll tell you everything about Qi, and that's not enough. I want information on all 3 generations of his closest relatives, everything he's done, everything he said, who he's enemies with, what he likes to eat, what he usually wears, how he sleeps, what kind of women he likes, the methods he uses to kill people, his reputation in the sect, the spells he's good at. I want to know everything. Also, what kind of world is this? What kind of authority does Guangyang sect have? You better tell me as well, Gu Qingshan quickly explained. Yin Wan finally understood and looked at him in shock. But you only look a bit like him. You're not really him. I'll worry about that. Just prepare the information. I'll use it right away, Gu Qingshan said. Then how will you face Qi Yan's father? He's currently facing his tribulation, about to become a cryptic realm cultivator. Nan Gong Qingro asked. I'll act according to the situation. Gu Qingshan touched the Tianma bell on his arm and answered concisely. His tone was very calm, but the two girls still couldn't believe it. Looking at him, Nan Gong Qingro suddenly remembered how he dealt with Qi Yin. He's only a rejuvenation realm cultivator, yet the Tianma Empress cooperated with him. Together with the Tianma, he killed a virtualized realm cultivator. Since when did such a thing happen? Nan Gong Qingro felt a bit more confident. She took out a jade tag and gave it to Gu Qingshan. We've been recording and preparing for a chance to kill him, she explained. Chapter 354. At this time, notifications were popping up on the War God UI. Gu Qingshan looked at the War God UI. A few lines of glowing text were hovering there. Golden Core / Rejuvenation Dual Realm Thaumaturgy. Quest completed. You've completed 7 quests, obtained a chance to draw a Dual Realm Thaumaturgy. You've successfully survived temporarily. You've obtained the Divine Skill. Shadow Shift. These lines of glowing text hovered there, waiting for Gu Qingshan to finish reading before disappearing. New lines of glowing text appeared. Destiny Quest. Decisive Battle 2. Quest Description. The fate of the world and an individual converge. At the moment of storm, everything in the world's fate will change. Quest objective. In the coming days, at least make sure that Shunwu world remains the same. Quest completed. As soon as Gu Qingshan read through them, they turned to ash. New lines of text appeared. You've completed the Destiny quest. Decisive battle. 2. Congratulations, you've obtained all of the War God title options. From now on, you'll be able to use War God title. You've made sure that Shunwu world remains the same, as well as plotted to kill the culprit. You've completed the quest. Additional reward unlocked. Additional reward. After you return to reality, you can return at any time. No longer have a time limit. The user can now immediately return to reality. A few more lines of red text appeared. Frowny face. Unique quest has appeared. Unique quest. Wu San must die. Quest description. Attention user, in a completely unknown world, there is only one cultivator who knows about Shunwu world and the cultivation world. Kill this person, and no one will ever know about the existence of these two worlds again. This matter is related to the ultimate fate of both worlds. The user must deal with it seriously. Quest objective. Before the secret is discovered by others, kill this person who knows about it. Quest reward. The user can choose any other quest and immediately complete it. After reading through the quest, Gu Qingshan nodded. This is also something that he's been keeping in mind. When he was scouting the enemy's camp, he killed 2 cultivators from unknown worlds who were in charge of scouting. At the time, he used soul reading on one of them and found out that the Zishan young master had a trusted aide. This trusted aide knew everything, but didn't come to Shunwu world. This person's name was Wu San. The others who knew about this were all killed by the heavenly demons. The Zishan young master was also sent to the Tianma world. He will die sooner or later. The only person who knew the truth was Wu San. If the Zishan young master doesn't show up, his father will definitely ask about this. As the Zishan young master's trusted aide, Wu San will definitely be questioned in detail. At that time, Shunwu world and the cultivation world won't be able to hide anymore. If the Zishan young master's father successfully passes his tribulation, he'll be a cryptic realm cultivator. He would become the most powerful existence in that world. If the Zishan young master's father takes action, the two worlds won't be able to resist at all. Gu Qingshan sighed. He didn't expect things to become so complicated. Fortunately, his master had survived. Therefore, everything was worth it. He looked at the space vortex, then at the 2 girls next to him. A glowing door suddenly appeared in front of him. Inside the glowing door, there was an abundance of spiritual energy that was blown out along with the wind. Such vigorous spiritual power seemed to have its own life force. Gu Qingshan only took 2 breaths, and she felt extremely comfortable. What a wonderful state, he muttered. Unfortunately, such a world is about to come to an end. The Demon Lord is about to destroy everything. I need to find a chance to see exactly what that terrifying Demon Lord is. But first, I need to think of a way to survive. While Gu Qingshan was thinking, the 2 girls next to her became anxious. We're almost there. You might not be able to disguise as him in time. Nan Gongqing, Ro hurriedly spoke. If you can't, we'll have to risk our lives. You can take that chance to escape. Yin Wan Air also said. That's right. You have a divine skill like Shadow Shift. You'll definitely be able to escape, Nan Gongqing Ro also said. Gu Qingshan glanced at them. Right now, they're thinking of using their lives to repay his kindness. After going through so much hardship, I didn't think they'd still be able to keep their original hearts. Truly admirable. Such a person was trustworthy as a companion by his side. Very well, Gu Qingshan muttered. Return. Time stopped at this moment. A screen of light flashed. Gu Qingshan escaped from the current flow of time, being pushed into another space vortex by some sort of power. Rain. Cold rain. Rain mixed with bits of ice, falling from the night sky. It was still daytime when I left, but when I returned, it was already nighttime. For every day spent in the cultivation world, 1 hour would pass in reality. Gu Qingshan stood in the cold rain, catching the rainwater with her hand. The rain was bone-chilling. Whenever the demons attack, the world will always rain. This is a typical characteristic of the apocalypse. After the last rain stopped, the game of Eternal appeared in this world. What about this rain? Gu Qingshan looked up at the night sky. The rain was still pouring down, and it doesn't seem like it'll stop anytime soon. That's fine. Before the rain stops, before the demons appear, I need to quickly finish what I need to do. The hollow brain in her chest pocket lit up. Good evening, sir. The current temperature is -3°C. Northwest wind, level 5. Strong wind and cold rain will negatively affect your health. Please take care to avoid the rain. Impartial goddess reminded her with concern. Gu Qingshan answered, I know, where are they? Impartial goddess answered. Mr. Zhang Yongho is currently planning an assassination against the Holy Church. Mr. Liao Xing is bringing Mr. Yi Feili to the capital's Rainbow Bar for a drink. A drink? Gu Qingshan smiled and was about to head towards the mountaintop mansion. But Impartial Goddess continued. While you weren't here, I received a signal from the Blazing Angel. What signal? The signal that you set up to report an abnormal situation. Gu Qingshan's mind went blank. Su Cher? What happened to her? Tell me everything immediately, Gu Qingshan ordered. A bright light came from the sky, landing in front of Gu Qingshan. The Blazing Angel mech. The Blazing Angel spoke. Sir, Su Cher went to the North Pole, then lost contact. Do you know where? The signal disappeared at a certain point in the North Pole. Let's go. The mech's cockpit opened as Gu Qingshan jumped inside. The mech closed up as a pair of wings of light spread out. The Blazing Angel mech flew to the sky, letting out an intense sonic boom as it headed north. In the sky, the further north they go, the colder it gets. The wind howled, the snow covered the ground. The Blazing Angel wasn't afraid of the snow, flying as fast as it could. Impartial Goddess' voice came. Sir, the area around the North Pole is filled with unknown disturbances. The Blazing Angel will not be able to approach. Open the hatch, Gu Qingshan ordered. Sir, it's freezing outside at 10,000 meters. It's okay, open the hatch. The Blazing Angel's hatch opened. Gu Qingshan jumped out, hovering in the middle of the snowstorm. Spirit energy surged around his body, repelling the cold wind and snow at least a meter away. Go to the near-Earth orbit satellite. I'll go the rest of the way myself, Gu Qingshan told the Blazing Angel. Yes, Your Excellency. The Blazing Angel turned into a streak of light and flew away. Gu Qingshan tapped his inventory bag and took out his airship. He piloted the airship and continued to fly towards the North Pole. Why would she come to a place like this? Gu Qingshan asked. Young Lady Su Cher has become the lord of the Su family, heading to the North Pole to receive the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Impartial Goddess answered. She became a lord? Gu Qingshan was a bit surprised. If what you're saying is true, then this is something that every lord of the Nine Lords would have to go through. That's right, Impartial Goddess answered. Gu Qingshan sighed in relief. Although this seems to be a tradition of the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Su Cher really did lose contact with them. Help me check if anything happened to any lords during the Nine Lords' inheritance ceremony, Gu Qingshan said. Checking information on lords is a very complicated process. It'll take a bit of time, Impartial Goddess answered. That's fine. Just check it now. I want to know the results. Gu Qingshan waited for a bit, feeling a bit impatient. After thinking for a bit, he decided to check the situation first. Chapter 355. A few minutes later, Gu Qingshan arrived at the North Pole. As he was about to control the airship to continue flying forward, a figure appeared in the middle of the snowstorm. It was a black figure covered by a thick cloak, so his face couldn't be seen clearly. At the same time, a voice resounded in Gu Qingshan's mind. I am the protector of the Nine Lords. This is our ancestral land. Who are you? What do you want here? This was a telepathic god's chosen skill. Gu Qingshan looked at the figure. A power as deep as the sea erupted from the figure, turning into sharp, killing intent. Indeed, this is someone else's territory after all, and also Su Cher's territory. Thinking that, Gu Qingshan stopped the airship. He came down from the airship, flew in front of the figure, and spoke. This humble one is Gu Qingshan. I'm here to look for Su Cher. Why are you looking for her? She's a friend of mine. I suddenly lost contact with her. The last news I heard of her was from the North Pole. Is that true? Not a single lie. The figure raised her hand and drew a card from the void of space. She then tied a long strand of hair onto the card. Yesterday, once again, the figure muttered in a low voice. The card instantly scattered into a dense cluster of light spots. The sprites of light rotated in the air, turning into an illusory screen. Gu Qingshan and Su Share's images appeared. The two of them sat down to eat. A second later, Gu Qingshan stroked Su Share's head. So you really are Shui Er's friend. And here I thought you were another combatant who wanted to pry into the Nine Lords' secrets. The figure's killing intent dissipated. Her tone also became a bit calmer. Where is she? Gu Qingshan asked. You should go. She's currently receiving the Nine Lords' inheritance. It's not convenient for her to see you. Can I take a look? Of course not, in fact. Anyone who tried to pry into the Nine Lords' secrets is already dead. What if I insist? Gu Qingshan asked. A sword appeared in his hand. The protector of the Nine Lords instinctively wanted to draw a card, but then retracted her hand. She looked at Gu Qingshan and recalled the scene she saw in the illusion. This young man had a close relationship with Shui Er. He could even fly here. The protector of the Nine Lords paused for a bit, then changed her tone. If that's the case, Su Share will feel bad. Gu Qingshan was startled and asked, What do you mean? She's from the Nine Lords, and she's also the Lord of the Nine Lords, and her ancestors and clansmen are buried here. Are you sure you want to make a move here? What do you think? Gu Qingshan's momentum stagnated. I don't care at all if I barge into the Nine Lords' ancestral grounds. But Su Share was the Lord of the Nine Lords, which meant that this was the burial ground of her ancestors. If he acted like a little kid and insisted on making a scene in her ancestors' graveyard, that's not good. Gu Qingshan retracted her aura completely. Looks like you're a sensible person. The figure had a gentle smile on his face. Can I ask something? How is she right now? Gu Qingshan asked very seriously. She's doing very well. I've checked her fate several times. The shadow of death has already left her. She's currently spreading her wings and flying. The figure spoke proudly. Very soon, her power will be unimaginable to you. Gu Qingshan sensed the other party's power. This level of power should be at the peak of this world. A combatant of this level wouldn't casually lie about something like this. Gu Qingshan tried asking, You seem to care a lot about Shui Er? The figure replied, Of course, this is my Nine Lords' ancestral grounds. Who do you think I am to her? Gu Qingshan facepalmed. I'm so worried that I'm confused. This is the Nine Lords' ancestral grounds, so the other party is obviously a combatant who guards this place. If I'm not careful, this person might even be related to Shui Er by blood. The figure then asked, But you? Who are you? What does this have to do with our Shui Er? Gu Qingshan was surprised. Why did the topic suddenly change so much? I feel like I'm knocking on your door. At this point, the hollow brain lit up. In the last 400 years of records, every lord has successfully gone through the ceremony of inheritance. Impartial Goddess showed the results of her search. If that's the case, Shui Er should be fine as well. Gu Qingshan calmed down. If so many lords have gone through the ceremony of inheritance and are still alive and well, then this inheritance shouldn't be too dangerous. I'm the same, coming here without knowing what's going on. Who would like a guy who comes to their family's ancestral grounds? I'm sorry, I'll leave Shui Er to you. I just remembered there's something urgent I need to take care of saying so. Gu Qingshan clasped her fists solemnly. After bowing, Gu Qingshan flew away without looking back. From the looks of it, it felt like he was running away. The figure silently watched him leave. Flight, this child's power is truly shocking. In this world, there are only 3 kinds of people who can fly without any external help. 5th stage elementalist, martial saint of martial arts. Gods chosen who have reached the 5th stage of their God's chosen skill and will soon have their own card or scroll. This is common knowledge recognized by the entire world. Every professionist and even every normal person knows this very well. The fact that he could fly so stably in the middle of a snowstorm at such a young age speaks volumes. This was also the reason why the protector of the Nine Lords didn't act right away. This youngster isn't bad. Shui Er will need someone like this to help her in the future, she muttered. The protector of the 9 lords turned around and flew all the way to the foot of the mountain at the very top of the North Pole. She stopped in front of a small house. "Come out," she called out. The 8 lords came out one by one, nervously looking at the protector. "Soucher is still undergoing her test. You don't need to wait for her. Go first," the protector told them. "According to the rules, shouldn't we bring her back with us?" one of the lords asked. "She's by herself. How could she go back?" another lord asked. "You don't need to test me." The protector smiled and said, "She's about to become extremely powerful. She'll be able to make it back to the North Pole by herself. She doesn't need you to lead the way." Saying so, the protector flew up the mountain without looking back. "Did you hear that?" One of the lords looked at the protector's disappearing figure and asked. "That's right. Seems like that little girl chose strength. And the result isn't too bad either. This is really surprising." The lords went silent. A new combatant of this world is about to be born, and this combatant is one of the 9 lords. What should the other 8 lords do now? The lords packed their things and thought about what to do next. "A girl will eventually have to get married," one of the lords muttered. "According to my intel, she already has someone she likes," another lord said. "Which lord's direct descendant is it?" another lord asked curiously. "He's not one of us." The lords all stopped what they were doing. "No," one of them suddenly said, "the reins of a powerful force should be in our hands." Gu Shan hurriedly retreated. But he felt relieved. Since Soucher is fine, there's no need to worry anymore. She's a member of the 9 lords. Let her continue breaking through in the 9 lords' ancestral grounds. Not to mention, I've left a backup plan on the Blazing Angel Ring. If there's any danger, it'll be able to help her. All right, there's nothing else to do for now. Gu Shan sighed tiredly. She's been running around 2 worlds at a time. Her mind has been stretched taut without a single moment of rest. If only she could rest a bit. Let's go have a drink first before we talk about anything else. Help me transfer Liao Xing and Yi Fei Li's locations. Rainbow Bar's location has been transferred. Impartial Goddess answered. Gu Shan checked the location on the Hollow Brain, summoned an airship, and flew towards the Federation capital. The Freedom Federation. The capital. In a crowded bar, Liao Xing took Yi Fei Li and sat down at a booth. Liao Xing drank a large glass of liquor, then took a cigar and happily took a puff. "It's so comfortable here," he happily said. "If I could make a wish, I'd be able to live like this every day." "Your wish is pretty boring," Yi Fei Li commented. "What about you? What wish do you have?" Liao Xing casually asked. He put a glass of liquor in front of Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li pushed her sunglasses up a bit, raised the glass, and took a big gulp. "Wish? I have a lot of wishes, greedy brat. You can only say one. I want to find a girlfriend. You fucking need to be realistic. I want to live a normal life, all right? Let's talk. What kind of girlfriend do you want?" "I don't have anything to say to you," Yi Fei Li angrily said. At this point, a beautiful woman walked past them. A fragrant breeze. Both of them went silent. Liao Xing lowered his voice and counted to 3. Yi Fei Li shook her head. "You old pervert. You only know how to talk, but you can't even do what you said." "What did I say?" "You said that as long as you hit on them, there would be a lot of girls throwing themselves at you. You even said that you would teach me how to get along with women, ah? Is that so?" "Did I say that?" Liao Xing was a bit drunk, so he casually answered. "That's right. A fugitive who faked his death came to a bar with a man-killer fiend. The fugitive wanted to show the man-killer fiend how to hit on them. If it weren't for Impartial Goddess keeping an eye on them, they would have already caused trouble." "You old bastard. You don't even remember what you said," Yi Fei Li angrily said again. "I remember. How could I forget?" "I'll teach you right now," Liao Xing said. He looked around, only to see that none of the girls in the bar were paying attention to him. "That's true. An old drunkard who's constantly pouring alcohol into his mouth. A shy young man wearing sunglasses under the dim light. Not only does this combination look awkward, it's also a bit strange. Everyone's here to have fun. Who would be interested in such a strange person? Hey, pretty girl, do you want to get a drink together?" Liao Xing greeted the girl sitting next to him. The beauty glanced at him, rolled her eyes, and turned to the other side. "Failed to hit on him. So you only know how to brag. And here I thought you really knew how to get along with women," Yi Fei Li muttered in disappointment. "Brag? When did I ever brag?" Liao Xing sat up straight and glared at her. Yi Fei Li puffed out her chest, mimicking his manner and tone. Hitting on people is a very simple art. I can talk to any girl, Yao Xing. That's right, it's a piece of cake. Why don't you beg them to talk to you? Yi Fei Li mocked him. Brat, don't push me as long as I use my true male charm. As Liao Xing said that, his expression became serious. He put the bottle down, turned on his hollow brain, and contacted Impartial Goddess. Honorable Goddess, I have a question. Mr. Liao, please ask, what kind of equipment and materials do I need to purchase for my warp device miniaturization technology? How many credits did Gu Qingshan prepare for this? The materials you need are as follows. Quantum accelerator, miniature power core. Impartial Goddess then replied to each of them. Liao Xing silently listened until the end. For some reason, his hand suddenly slipped and accidentally turned the hollow brain's volume to the max. A voice came from the hollow brain. So your available balance is 1,196 million Federation credits. The loud voice echoed throughout the bar. There was a strange silence. Everyone turned their heads in unison and sized up the two strange people. Ah, damn this hollow brain. It's always malfunctioning, Liao Xing loudly shouted. He angrily slapped the hollow brain, shrugging at everyone. Sorry for bothering you all. He appeared very embarrassed. Everyone turned their heads and returned to their normal state. A second later, Hey, uncle, is there anyone here? A voice came from behind them. The two of them turned around to see a beautiful young girl. The girl smiled brightly, tilting her head to Liao Xing. Both her figure and face, she looked absolutely stunning. Have a seat, order whatever you want to drink. It's my treat, Liao Xing said. The girl giggled, twisting her hips as she sat next to Liao Xing. Another girl's voice came. Uncle, I see there's still a seat here. Can I sit for a bit? Have a seat. Not even a minute passed. Another girl came, pulling a chair from the side and sat down. Although the seats are full, we can still squeeze a bit. All right, everyone sit. It's fine. Let's make friends and have some fun, Liao Xing said. He winked at Yi Fei Li. Chapter 356. Yi Fei Li suddenly sensed something. This presence. Yi Fei Li suddenly looked up, looking in a certain direction, only to see a young man sitting at the bar with his back to her. The man received a bottle of liquor from the bartender, poured himself a glass, and downed it in one gulp. He's here. As Yi Fei Li said so, she stood up and quickly walked over. Who? What? Liao Xing was busy chatting with the other girls, so he didn't understand. Yi Fei Li had already walked to the bar, sitting down next to Gu Qingshan. Gu Qingshan also poured him glass. Is the bar fun? Gu Qingshan asked. That old pervert insisted on coming. I don't mind. Yi Fei Li raised her glass. They clinked their glasses and downed it in one gulp. Yi Fei Li scowled. I'm not used to this kind of strong liquor. Gu Qingshan looked at the bottle. This is one of the strongest liquors in the world. Yi Fei Li likes liquor that's a bit light and sweet. I'm sorry, this is just my taste. I'll get you another one. Saying so, Gu Qingshan was about to call the bartender. Yi Fei Li stopped him, saying, No need, it's fine to drink once in a while. Gu Qingshan took the bottle and filled it up. Another one? Sure. The two of them finished their glasses again. Yi Fei Li scowled, grinning. Since you like to drink such strong liquor, you must have gone through a lot of hard times. Who hasn't? Gu Qingshan smiled. He continued. Drinking won't make you feel better. You might think it'll numb you, but it won't. It'll only burn in your chest. It'll keep burning for a while, giving you a bit of emptiness. Yi Fei Li nodded. She took the bottle and poured herself a glass, then filled up Gu Qingshan's glass. What are you busy with? Why do you look so tired? He asked. To save two worlds, Gu Qingshan simply replied. Puchi. A beautiful woman beside him laughed out loud. Her male companion was already half drunk. He laughed and said, Save the world. Ha ha ha, save the world. The two of them turned a deaf ear to him. A toast to you. All right. Gu Qingshan emptied the cup in one gulp and turned to look at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li didn't pay attention to the bystanders. She also raised her cup and drained it in one gulp. This wine doesn't suit your taste. Why are you drinking so much today? Gu Qingshan asked curiously. Just a small matter. As Yi Fei Li spoke, She reached for the bottle again. Gu Shan pushed his hand away and filled their glasses with a bottle of liquor. None of your matters are small matters. Tell me, he said very seriously. Yi Fei hesitated for a bit, then finally said, I want to find a girlfriend. Gu Shan raised a glass and took a sip. Go on, Gu Shan said. Yi Fei continued. I want to see her. Gu Shan couldn't help but ask. You mean your ex-girlfriend? Yes, why? Recently, I've been hearing her crying right next to my ear. You can hear her crying? A God's chosen skill. That's right, this is my God's chosen skill. Listen, how familiar are you with your God's chosen skill? Barely, Yi Fei answered. Every now and then, I can hear different things at different times. That's a pretty good skill. What can you hear? Gu Shan asked. What I know so far, for example, in the first hour I can hear sound from outside the wall, so on and so forth. In the second hour I can hear sound from underground. In the third hour I can hear the sounds of plants. In the fourth hour I can hear the voices of animals. In the fifth hour I can hear the voices of the sky. In the sixth hour I can hear the voices of other people. In the seventh hour I don't know what kind of sound I'm hearing. Yi Fei added, I still haven't heard anything after the eighth hour. You heard your ex-girlfriend crying at the sixth hour? Gu Shan asked. No, it was the seventh hour. Yi Fei answered. That's strange. Gu Shan muses. That's right. So, I want to go take a look. You want to see your ex-girlfriend? Then what are you waiting for? Go. Yi Fei hesitated and said, She said before that she doesn't want to see me again. When the apocalypse came, she left me behind and ran away with an aristocrat. She didn't do it right. Yi Fei was a bit annoyed. I don't want to see her again. She's probably in someone else's arms right now. I really don't want to see that, he tried to explain. I just wanted to understand my God's chosen skill better. So, I had to go. Gu Shan looked at him and clapped her hands. Sir, the bartender came and politely asked. Gu Shan whispered something to the bartender. The bartender quickly came back with some liquor, fruits, a small plate, salt, and other ingredients, placing them on Gu Shan's table. Gu Shan skillfully mixed a cocktail. He put it in front of Yi Fei. What is this? Yi Fei asked. Margarita, a lover's drink. I'm guessing it suits your taste, Gu Shan said. Thanks. Yi Fei drank it. This drink suits his taste. He put the glass down and started talking. That year, when the school organized a walking tour, although I liked her, I didn't say a single word to her. It wasn't until the end that she handed me a bottle of drink with a blushing face and asked if I could take a picture with her. Yi Fei reminisced. I was very surprised at the time. I didn't think she'd like me. After that, we got together, even after we graduated and got a job. She liked to laugh, liked to play games, always pulled me into the game rankings. Everything we said to each other, the other would always be able to follow up, seeing his expression. Gu Shan made him another glass of liquor. Gu Shan stared at him until he drank the entire glass before asking, You've always been thinking about her. It's been 3 years. That bottle of drink has already expired, but I've been hiding it and never opened it. Yi Fei stared at the glass. I want to see her one more time, but only from afar so that she won't notice. Gu Shan evaluated him. Yi Fei's expression was full of hesitation and nervousness, as well as a bit of reminiscence. There wasn't a bit of the man-killer fiend king's presence, nor was there the murder clown's madness. As soon as Yi Fei said that, he shook his head and muttered, Forget it. Since she dumped me, there's no point in me going to see her again. Then don't go. Gu Shan tried asking. But she's been crying right next to my ear. I don't know what to do. Yi Fei was a bit confused. Gu Shan went silent for a bit, then asked, What are you afraid of? Yi Fei picked up the glass and took a big gulp. I just feel that as a man, I shouldn't lower myself to see her like this. I've already lost once. This is like admitting my failure again. No, you're wrong. Wrong? You don't need to care about the rules of the world. You don't need to care about what other people think. You should do what you want from the bottom of your heart, Gu Shan said. Hearing that, Yi Fei lowered his head and scratched his head with both hands. Ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. The bar's ancient clock chimed one after another. A new hour had arrived. Yi Fei suddenly stopped. Listen, he appeared to be listening. She's crying again. Before, she only knew how to smile, but now she's crying every day. Ask her why she's crying, Gu Shan said. Chapter 357. That's not right. What did Yi Fei Li hear? God's chosen skills are the manifestation of the laws of the world. There are so many different kinds of them that a human's mind can't fully comprehend them. There have been a few strange God's chosen skills that the user couldn't understand even after death. Gu Qin Shan muses, "How about this? I'll go with you, really?" Yi Fei Li's eyes lit up. Hesitating to do anything is a bad sign for you. You need to get rid of that, Gu Qin Shan seriously told her. But I really don't know if I should go or not, Yi Fei Li bitterly said. All right, don't think too much about it. We'll go right now, Gu Qin Shan decided. Hey, boss, why are you here? Liao Xing brought 3 to 4 girls with him. Hearing him call her boss, the girls all looked at Gu Qin Shan with sparkling eyes. I've organized a few thousand cultivation scriptures. They're all with impartial goddess. Remember to take them out and sort them out. Got it? Gu Qin Shan said. Scriptures? All right, I'll start work tomorrow, Liao Xing answered. Cultivation scriptures. Impartial goddess. Ha. Is this an act? The man next to them perked up his ears and repeated with a laugh. He then whispered something to the people next to him. A few moments later, a lot of people held back their laughter and looked at Gu Qin Shan. I'm going out with Yi Fei Li to do something. You go back early. Be careful, Gu Qin Shan said, then stood up to leave. Yes, boss. Go do what you need to do, Liao Xing said. Yi Fei Li hesitated a bit, then followed behind Gu Qin Shan. The man next to them suddenly shouted, Bro, you're going to save the world again? The bar counter was filled with laughter. Obviously, the joke just now had already spread to all the men and women in front of the counter. Gu Qin Shan and Yi Fei Li ignored him. As they walked out, all the people and things in front of them automatically made way for them. The door of the bar was also opened by an unknown force. The two of them walked to the door and flew up into the sky. A streak of blue lightning and a streak of scarlet bloodlight quickly streaked across the horizon. The bar was silent. Even an idiot would know what kind of person could fly freely. These two guys, Liao Xing muttered under his breath. No, how can they leave me out of the limelight? Bro, with a cigarette in his mouth. Liao Xing walked in front of the man and said, You seem to have a problem with my brother just now? He narrowed his eyes and stared coldly at the other party. It's a misunderstanding. Big brother, I really didn't do it on purpose. The man had long since sobered up, and at this moment, he was covered in cold sweat. These were the strongest existences in the world, and 2 of them had appeared at once. And he was just joking with them. This was a matter of life and death. He quickly lit the fire for Liao Xing. Please calm down. What do you want to drink tonight? My treat. Watch what you say next time. You can't mess with my 2 brothers, Liao Xing scoffed, then sat between the 2 girls. Half an hour later, Gu Qin Shan and Yi Fei Li stood in front of the tombstone. Yi Fei Li crouched down, reading the words on the tombstone. So you were here. His expression was sorrowful as he looked up at the void of space above the tombstone. That's right. I came to see you. I can really hear your voice. This is my God's chosen skill. For 1 hour, I can talk to you. There was nothing above the tombstone. Yi Fei Li was seriously talking to the void of space. Why did you suddenly disappear? Did you drink too much and fall from the 5th floor to your death? No, I'm not happy about that. I've already stopped blaming you for what happened before. I really don't blame you. At the time, there were man-killer fiends and man-eater fiends everywhere, and I wasn't by your side. The reason why I didn't look for you was because Yi Fei Li slowly took off his sunglasses, revealing a pair of crimson eyes. At the time, I couldn't control myself. I killed every single person who came into contact with me. It wasn't until later, when I became stronger and stronger, that I was able to barely control myself. I'm now the king of man-killer fiends. Don't laugh. I'm serious. Don't cry. Look, I'm still alive and well. Gu Qin Shan silently watched this. As a cultivator, he could see the void of space with a single thought. A pure young girl was sitting on top of the tombstone, crying. So during this 1 hour, Yi Fei Li could hear the voices of the dead. While he was thinking, Yi Fei Li suddenly turned around and pulled him in front of the tombstone. This is my friend. He's the Federation's most famous mobile mech expert. Yi Fei Li looked at Gu Qin Shan and said, She sang hello. Gu Shan looked at the girl and smiled. Hello, I'm Gu Shan. The girl said something to Yi Fei Li. Gu Shan couldn't hear it, so he looked at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li then answered, That's right, he's a good person. He even designed a mobile mech for me, that's right. He said as if he was showing off a treasure. You definitely don't know, but I'm actually the murder clown. Aha! But don't believe me? Yi Fei Li looked at Gu Shan. Yi Fei Li wanted to show off, so Gu Shan naturally didn't object. Impartial goddess. Understood, impartial goddess replied. The mobile mech quickly landed in front of the tombstone. Yi Fei Li put on the murder mech. He put on the clown helmet. An adjusted voice came from behind the helmet. So, do you believe me this time? Your man is actually a peerless hero. He suddenly stopped talking, and his entire body froze in place. Gu Shan couldn't help but ask, What's the matter? 1 hour is up. Yi Fei Li's God's chosen skill only allows him to hear the voices of the dead during this hour. After this hour, he'll have to wait a few more hours before he can hear the voices of the dead again. Yi Fei Li took off his mobile mech and forced a smile. Don't worry, in a few more hours, I'll be able to hear your voice again. We're going to do something first. We'll come back later. Don't worry, I'll definitely come back. Yi Fei Li glanced at Gu Shan. The two of them left the tombstone and walked to the road outside. Yi Fei Li didn't say anything, so Gu Shan also didn't say anything. She said that after she got drunk, she felt her death. Yi Fei Li suddenly said, But she never drank. Impartial goddess, Gu Shan said. Impartial goddess's voice came. Federation citizen Lu Shijun drank too much alcohol and fell to her death on the 5th floor. Gu Shan asked, What's the truth? A young master of the Wang family drank too much, lost his mind, and pushed her down from the 5th floor, falling to her death. The Wang family is one of the 9 lords. I haven't prepared anything yet, so I can only record it for now, Impartial goddess explained. The two of them stayed silent. Yi Fei Li was a bit surprised, then asked, My girlfriend, how did she get together with him? At the time, her whole family was trapped. The young master said he could save her parents, so she agreed to go with him. Where are her parents? Gu Shan asked. Dead. Chapter 358. Gu Shan looked at Yi Fei Li. Yi Fei Li was surprisingly calm and replied, In history, when the 9 lords created the Federation, all the great aristocrats were heroes. All of them had accomplished great feats that were praised by the entire world. He asked in confusion. Why are their descendants like that? Why are the aristocrats of the 9 lords all like that now? Because the current aristocrats haven't inherited the spirit of their ancestors. They've only inherited their authority, Gu Shan explained. When a person has the authority to control and harm others without being punished for it, then that person will most likely become a synonym for evil. Why is that? The Lucifer effect, that's human nature. Yi Fei Li thought about it and asked, Do you think I should avenge her? Why would you want to avenge her? You've already broken up. Gu Shan coldly spoke. Yi Fei Li hurriedly replied, That's right, but I can understand her. She also wanted to survive in the apocalypse, or rather, she wanted her family to have a better life at the apocalypse. She abandoned you. Gu Shan didn't hold back at all. So what? She's already dead. Do I still have to argue with her? Not to mention, I'm no longer human, but the happiness she brought me are the most precious memories of my time as a human. Yi Fei Li finally spoke. Truthfully, I've always been grateful to her. Gu Shan seriously listened and smiled. That's good. Revenge doesn't wait overnight. Go now, he said. I'm going to kill someone. Kill a normal human. Aren't you going to stop me? Yi Fei Li looked at him and asked. Gu Shan replied, Even though you become a man-killer fiend, you still haven't realized one thing. What is it? Yi Fei Li asked. As Gu Shan was about to say something, his expression changed. Yi Fei Li also looked around with him. On the roads around the graveyard, a lot of people were silently gathering around. Most of them were professionals, but there were also some ordinary people mixed in. The two young men walked at the back while the professionists surrounded them like stars around the moon. I just came to the tomb to take a look, and so many people from the Wang clan have been attracted. Yi Fei Li found it hard to believe. Looks like they're not looking for you. They're all staring at me, Gu Shan said. The crowd approached them. silently surrounding Gu Qing-shan and Yi Fei Li. Two young men stepped out from the crowd. They sized up Gu Qing-shan. "Are you Gu Qing-shan?" "I'm Gu Qing-shan." "Who are you?" "We are the Nine Lords' direct descendants of this generation. What can I do for you?" The two young men looked at each other, and the one on the left said, "Leave Su share. You can name your conditions." "Because she's the Su family's mansion lord now." Gu Qing-shan asked with a smile. "That's right, the authority she represents right now isn't something someone like you can rely on," the other man said. "We can give you 100 million, as long as you leave her." One of the young men couldn't help but say. "No conditions." Gu Qing-shan continued to smile. He really wanted to laugh. Even Yi Fei Li wanted to laugh. "How does it feel?" Gu Qing-shan asked Yi Fei Li. "I feel like we're playing house," Yi Fei Li honestly answered. "What if I'm a normal person?" "If that's the case," Yi Fei Li thought for a bit, then said, "If I don't agree, I'll probably die, just like my girlfriend." As soon as he said that, the young man in the lead ordered, "If you refuse to drink, then you'll have to drink the forfeit. Go kill him." The professionists rushed forward. Gu Qing-shan grabbed the earth sword from the void of space and said, "What I wanted to tell you just now is related to this." "That's right, you said I forgot something." Yi Fei Li nodded. "As you continue to grow stronger, you'll find that the world is vast. The scenery in front of you will be completely different from before," Gu Qing-shan said. Black sword shadows bloomed silently and dispersed with a loud bang. In a split second, the entire road was filled with the shadows of flying swords circling around. Secret art, drawn shadow. You need to travel further to see more wondrous sceneries. Not be a weakling whose life and death is in the hands of others, Gu Qing-shan continued. Some wanted to rush forward, some wanted to defend, some wanted to run. But as the sword shadows pierced through their bodies, they couldn't think anymore. Countless screams of agony resounded. A deep bloody mist spread out in the night. Gu Qing-shan put her sword away and looked at Yi Fei Li. "If you want to become strong, you must first have the heart of a strong person." Without any other sound to interfere, his voice traveled very far, faintly echoing. Silence. No one else was alive. "I am already very strong now," Yi Fei Li said. He opened his palm, where a crimson glow of blood floated. "No, you're not strong," Gu Qing-shan said. Yi Fei Li said, "My power." Gu Qing-shan cut him off. "When you have power, you'll think you become stronger, but you haven't. Why not?" Yi Fei Li was stunned and couldn't help but ask. "The so-called strong lies in the heart. When your heart desires something and your actions follow your desire, that's when you're a strong person. Even a normal person would be able to explode with unimaginable power. You have something you really want to do, but you've always been avoiding it," hesitating, Gu Qing-shan said. Yi Fei Li was confused. Gu Qing-shan continued, "If you don't even dare to do what you want, then your power is useless. You'll always be weak." Yi Fei Li crouched down, cradling her head. "What should I do?" Gu Qing-shan shook her head. "The era of peace has suppressed you for too long, so much so that you don't even know who you really are." "Who am I?" "The murder clown." Yi Fei Li was a bit stunned, then lowered her head and mocked herself. "Then, the real me is actually a demon?" "No, you're a hero. You saved this world from the hands of the game of eternal," Gu Qing-shan continued. "But that's not enough. If you want to become strong, you must still dare to be yourself even after you've taken off your mask." "That's right. When I'm acting as a murder clown, I do feel a bit happier," Yi Fei Li muttered. I feel like I've lived to my heart's content. This feeling, only a hero can understand," Gu Qing-shan said. "Ah-ha-ha!" Yi Fei Li suddenly burst out laughing, shouting to the sky. "I understand now. What I really want to do is to avenge her." The blood-red glow illuminated the surroundings, as a terrifying bone spike extended from his back. "When I was still human, I couldn't tell you what songs I liked, couldn't tell you what movies I liked the most. Besides playing video games to pass the time, I didn't think life was that interesting. But after I became a man-killer fiend, I understood that the person I loved the most was already with someone else." He breathed heavily, speaking in a low voice. "I really don't understand. How could the person I treasured the most become nothing in someone else's eyes?" Following that, his body was covered in mysterious black runes, shining in the blood-red glow like a tattoo that couldn't be washed off. Waves of air were being emitted from his body. This was a never-before-seen Yi Fei Li. He wasn't wearing a mask, but at this moment, he was the murder clown. Only by avenging her can my heart be comforted. I want to kill that person. I want to torture him. I want him to repay her pain 100-fold. I want it right now. Chapter 359. Gu Qingshan silently watched as the blood-red light went away. Sir, is that all right? Impartial goddess voice came, a bit worried. A boy has to grow up to be a man. It's fine, Gu Qingshan replied. But Mr. Yi Fei Li's appearance will be exposed. No one knows him, so we'll just tamper with the video footage. Very well, there's one more thing. What is it? Wang family's second young master, Wang Mingzhe, is about to give his councilman election speech. What's going on? Gu Qingshan was surprised. Today is the county-level councilman election. It's being broadcasted live. Quite a few VIPs will be here. Impartial goddess added. The martial saint and sea emperor are also watching from the shadows. What the hell? Gu Qingshan facepalmed. This is a terrible time. But if Yi Fei Li retreats at this time, he definitely won't back down. He'll definitely do everything in his power to take revenge. I don't want to stop him either. With just Yi Fei Li alone, he'll have to deal with two of the Federation's most powerful professionists, as well as countless mechs and interstellar warships. He'll most likely get hurt. Many innocent people will also be dragged in. This will be an unprecedented war. What now? Other than stopping Yi Fei Li, the only other way is to go there myself to help. But my real identity is a scientist of the Federation. Different from Yi Fei Li, if I show up at such a place with my real face, the martial saint will recognize me first. Once my identity is exposed, there'll be a lot of trouble later on. Sir, there's 3 minutes left until Yi Fei Li arrives at the live broadcast of the councilman election. Impartial goddess reminded him. Do we have any more genetic disguise serums? I used them all during the trip to the Holy Empire. I don't have time to make new ones. Gu Qingshan sighed, then said, my body shape and Yi Fei Li's aren't that different. You're taller than him by 2 centimeters. If that's the case, there shouldn't be much difference, Gu Qingshan muttered in thought. Sir, there are 2 minutes left. The murder clown armor should be nearby, right? Yes, I just used it and put it on the low Earth orbit satellite. Send it down. Understood. Pitch black armor and black wings. Wearing the murder clown armor, Gu Qingshan moved her body a bit uncomfortably. Sir, you're quite handsome. Impartial goddess voice carried a hint of laughter. Don't laugh at me, Gu Qingshan said helplessly. I was the one who instigated that kid. If anything happens to him, it'll be bad. You put on the clown helmet. Gu Qingshan's voice came from behind a cold and strange smile. This is a pit that I dug myself. I have to fill it up. You left out the words with tears. Gu Qingshan shrugged and said, let's go. A black light flashed and produced a powerful sonic boom. The mobile mech dragged out 2 long black wings in the sky. Gu Qingshan entered supersonic flight. Estimated time of arrival, 53 seconds. You will arrive 27 seconds later than Mr. Yi Fei Li. Understood. Keep an eye on the situation at the scene. Got at the election venue. This was a large lawn outside the Parliament building. Normally, this place is used for large press conferences, welcoming foreign guests, as well as government charity events. Every few years, the election speeches are also held here. At this time, a young candidate with a dignified appearance was standing on the podium. He was giving a speech to all the VIPs here, as well as the entire nation's TV audience. I am Wang Mingzhe. After going through 19 cities and counties, 7 months, 23 debates, defeating 2 competitors, I've used a total of 4 bottles of throat protector, worn out 2 pairs of leather shoes. Finally, I'm standing here. His opening speech was met with friendly laughter and applause from everyone. Wang Mingzhe also laughed, put his hands on both sides of the podium, and continued. Indeed, there have been many disasters that have befallen our world, but I must say, the most precious thing for us humans is to uphold equality, respect, and value the rights of women. Dash of blood-red glow descended from above. A man with a pair of terrifying bony wings landed and crouched down on the podium. Women's rights? That's quite a good campaign slogan, the strange man muttered. He reached his hand forward, his fingers turned into sharp spikes that pierced through Wang Ming-Zai's shoulder blades. Wang Ming-Zai screamed in pain. Yi Fei stared at the young candidate in front of her, seemingly observing his painful expression. While flying, his clothes were torn apart by the wings, then blown away by the intense wind. So he was currently naked from the waist up. Black tattoos appeared all over his body, illuminated by the red glow, making him look extremely eerie. The crowd became rowdy. Assassination. Where are the guards? It's a professionist, hurry. Guards! Someone screamed. The VIPs were surrounded by the crowd as they retreated. The ordinary staff fled in all directions. A group of black-clothed people appeared and flew towards the podium. A few of the reporters ran away, but a lot of them were holding their cameras, as if they were on steroids, circling the podium to find a good vantage point. Catch him! Someone shouted. The black-clothed people all attacked Yi Fei Bang. The undisguised sound of a sniper rifle being fired was heard. The bullet hit Yi Fei's head and bounced off. Yi Fei didn't move. The red glow around his body surged, turning into a curtain of blood that swirled around the podium. The blood-red screen of light isolated the podium from the rest of the crowd. The guards that tried to attack were all knocked away. They fell to the ground, moaning in pain. Something seemed to have entered their bodies as soon as it touched them, causing them unprecedented internal damage. Several powerful professionists rushed forward. But before they could do anything, the blood-red screen of light turned into a giant hand and lightly pressed them to the ground, making them unable to move at all. It's a man-killer fiend. A powerful man-killer fiend. Someone saw Yi Fei's blood-red eyes and shouted in fear. No, he's too strong. Request for the interstellar warship. A person who looked like a commander ordered. General Song has agreed. The interstellar warship is on its way. Such power. I've never heard of it before. Perhaps only the general. Sensing the intense blood-red glow around Yi Fei's body, the commander muttered. He quickly asked, "Where are the two generals?" "They don't know. They were still here just now," the subordinate answered. In the sky, the giant interstellar warship could be seen. The interstellar warship was flying across the large river a few miles away from the Parliament building, slowly approaching. It had humanity's most advanced weaponry, capable of capturing even the slightest movement of an enemy, using it to attack from afar. Its power was comparable to that of a fifth-stage combatant. On the podium, Wang Ming-Zai endured the pain and calmly asked, "Who are you? I have no grudge against you. Nice to meet you. I'm Lu Shijun's ex-boyfriend," Yi Fei replied. Wang Ming-Zai was stunned. His eyes widened as a layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead. Yi Fei spoke. "Seems like you know why I'm here. How much money do you want?" Wang Ming-Zai lowered his voice and asked. He looked at her and tried his best to smile. "Let bygones be bygones. I'll do my best to make it up to you." Yi Fei also smiled. He burst out laughing so hard that tears were coming out his eyes. After a while, he wiped the corner of his eyes and spoke. Chapter 360. Wang Ming-Zai sensed something ominous when he saw the other party's crazed look. "I'm an aristocrat of the Nine Lords, the second young master of the Wang family." Wang Ming-Zai's face displayed the sincerity of a politician and spoke. "Trust me, I can give you anything you want, as long as you let me go." As he spoke, he glanced around, but did not see any new security personnel. Damn it, how could this be? Many people had enmity with him, but they couldn't even get close to him. But why does the man-killer fiends have a grudge against me? This man-killer fiend is really special. It actually still has rationality, but he was dead for sure. Today, the two strongest generals of the Federation were also present. But where were they? To hell with the bureaucracy. Come and save me. Wang Ming-Zai cursed anxiously in his heart. In the sky, the giant Starry Sky battleship continued to fly forward slowly. Above the Starry Sky battleship, even higher up in the sky, see Emperor Li Dongyuan and Marshal Saint Zhong Zhong Yang stood side by side, as if they were facing a great enemy. The murder clown stood in front of them, a sword resting on its shoulder, acting all mysterious. Zhong Yang said disdainfully, "The murder clown? I've heard a lot about you. May I know why you've come to the Federation?" Li Dongyuan asked. However, the two of them did not relax at all. Both of them had seen the scene back then. The strength displayed by the clown was too shocking, and that strange ability to control the entire world's optical supercomputer. They noticed the commotion in front of the Parliament building below, but it was only a man-killer fiend. A powerful man-killer fiend. On their side, there were two generals, countless mobile armors, and giant space battleships. No matter what, they would definitely be able to annihilate them in the end. But the murder clown was an unknown existence. Once it appeared, no one knew what would happen next. Meeting the clown in person felt different. The two generals were both fifth-stage rankers and could sense the clown's power. There was an invisible fluctuation on the clown's body. It was as deep as the sea, like a giant beast lurking in the abyss. It could transform into a destructive force at any time. When he sensed it carefully, he found that this energy was in harmony with the world. Standing in front of the clown was like standing against everything in the world. The two generals did not dare to leave rashly, nor did they dare to lower their guard. "There's no need for the two of you to fight and kill each other. I'm just passing by, so I came to take a look," the murder clown casually replied. The martial saint and the sovereign of the ocean looked at each other and saw the seriousness in each other's eyes. "Put down the weapon in your hand," Neptune shouted. "Are you serious?" the clown asked. "Of course. Put down your weapon first. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite," the martial sage said. "Fine." The clown let go. He casually tossed the sword out. The long sword tumbled and fell into the distance. As it fell faster and faster. The two generals relaxed a little. Suddenly, there was a loud noise. Then, flames and smoke rose into the sky. The expressions of the two generals changed as they hurriedly looked down. However, the long sword fell on the giant Starry Sky battleship and smashed right into the power pool of the Starry Sky battleship. The next moment, the entire battleship was dragged into the canal. A long sword weighing 86,370,000 kilograms rapidly fell from the sky. Even the most advanced high-tech weapons of war could only be left with the fate of crashing. "Sorry, looks like I shouldn't have listened to you." The clown waved his hand, and the sword once again flew into the sky and landed in the clown's hand. "You monster!" The martial sage looked at him with a serious expression like never before. A single sword was able to drag the entire giant Starry Sky battleship into the canal. This was beyond human comprehension. He casually waved his hand, and the weapon flew back to him. "Unimaginable. You have to be honest when you speak. You're the one who made me throw this away," the clown said innocently. "No, you're not the murder clown," the Sea Emperor suddenly said. "How so?" the clown asked. "Speech, expression, presence, movements, you don't resemble it at all," the Sea Emperor said. "I also feel the same when you say that," the martial sage said. "You're quite observant." "I'm definitely not the murder clown," the clown said. "Who exactly are you?" "I'm his big brother." Gu Qingshan spoke with a low and solemn voice. "There are a total of 5 of us, 4 men and 1 woman. When we appear one after another, it means that the world is falling into the abyss. One day, when all 5 of us appear at the same time, you will see something you've never seen before. What will we see?" The Sea Emperor couldn't help but ask. "You will see 5 clowns." Gu Qingshan spoke with a very serious tone. The Sea Emperor. The martial sage. Gu Qingshan was messing around in the air, stalling for time, while the real clown was taking his revenge in the sky. The podium. Yi Feili spoke very seriously. "If you don't like her, you can tell me. It's fine. I'll take her away. But why did you hit her? Why did you bully her? Why did you push her down the stairs? Who gave you the right to treat a helpless girl like that?" With every sentence he asked, he would cut off a part of his body. I apologize. Wang Mingze screamed as he spoke. He was already covered in blood. Not a single part of his body was left intact. Perhaps because he couldn't endure this inhumane torture, or because he knew that he wouldn't be able to escape. Wang Mingze screamed in hatred. I don't care who you are, you're dead. I'm the second young master of the Wang family. Our family will mobilize the entire Federation to kill you, and then your entire family. Yi Feili ignored it and continued to cut off the enemy's body parts. While cutting, he whispered, she had always appeared to be very strong, very brave. Even the first time we took a photo together, she was the one who suggested it, but at that moment, I saw the fear and nervousness in her eyes. That's right, she was actually a coward. She was afraid of too many things. She told me that was the most brave day of her life. If that's the case, if someone were to die in front of her, she would probably be afraid as well. That's why I won't take you to her grave. You shall die here. Yi Feili stabbed her hand into his chest, grabbed the throbbing thing, and pulled it out. No! Wang Mingze screamed, his eyes filled with disbelief. Today was supposed to be the most glorious day of my life. After today, everything has been arranged. I'll step into the pinnacle of my life, becoming an official member of the Federation. I still have a bright future ahead of me. But now I'm going to die. Wang Mingze coughed up some blood, muttering, she's just a woman. He collapsed, no longer breathing. Yi Feili knelt on one knee on the podium. He was holding his beating heart in one hand, rubbing his eyes with the other. His fearsome, bony wings retracted, silently curling up on his back. He was sobbing. In a trance, he seemed to have returned to the past. The girl handed him a bottle of drink and looked at him with a nervous smile. She looked at him with hope and asked for a photo of the two of them. Chapter 361. The hollow brain in Yi Feili's chest pocket lit up. Impartial goddess voice came. Now that your revenge is complete, Mr. Yi Feili, please leave. Yi Feili calmed himself down and looked up at the sky. With his eyesight, he could naturally see the three people in the sky. All three of them were exuding a strong aura, facing off against each other. 2 against 1? I'll go help him, Yi Feili immediately said. No, Mr. Yi Feili, there's an old acquaintance of Sir Gu Qingshan in there. He doesn't want to fight at all. He'll leave right after you leave, so it was just to attract firepower so that I can take my revenge? Yi Feili understood. He stood up from the podium and looked around. The security personnel that he injured were still moaning in pain on the ground. The more powerful professionists were pinned to the ground by the blood glow, unable to resist at all. Even further away, there was a large crowd of reporters. Yi Feili clapped his hands. Bam! All the camera equipment exploded at the sound of it, breaking into pieces on the ground. Following that, panic screams could be heard one after another. Yi Feili raised his bloodied hand in front of his chest. A needle-like blood glow flew out from the bodies of the security personnel and fell into his hand. The blood-red light gathered and formed a leaping blood-red flame. As he closed his hand, the flame disappeared. Yi Feili didn't kill them. He spread his wings, kicked his knees a bit, and flew up to the sky. The blood glow streaked across the sky, then disappeared without a trace. In the sky, Gu Qingshan obviously noticed this. Releasing her inner sight to scan below, she found that out of the several thousand people here, only one person died. That was the target of Yi Feili's revenge. Behind the clown mask, Gu Qingshan smiled. Yi Feili can now control his killing intent very well. Didn't he want to be a normal person? Unknowingly, the time has come. Gu Qingshan looked at the two generals in front of her. The warrior sage was an old acquaintance. Although the Neptune had never interacted with him before, he was still a member of the Federation. What are you fighting for? Let's go. The blacklight wings on the back of the battle armor suddenly spread open. Gu Qingshan was ready to leave. No, it's not good to just leave like this. The two generals would chase after him with all their might. Gu Qingshan cleared her throat, cupped her fists, and said, "Today is a day for us to relax. Two powerful humans. If you are willing, let's go and do some Taoism together next time. As for now, I have something to attend to. Goodbye. You destroyed our starry sky battleship and just left like that." Martial Sage Zhang Zongyang stared at him and said, The clown said seriously, "You were the ones who requested for the falling objects, so you have to take responsibility as well." Bullshit. The Ocean Emperor snorted coldly and waved his hand to release a blue light shadow. When he attacked, he gave it his all. The blue figure appeared. It was a tiger shark that was completely made of water spirit. The Ocean Emperor's ace in the hole, shark god. If you're bitten by this tiger shark, you'll instantly be transported to the bottom of the ocean. If a normal professionist gets hit by this attack, they'll be crushed to dust by the immense pressure of the water without any chance to resist. Even if it was a powerful professional who could survive in the deep sea, the Ocean Emperor would launch an even more powerful attack at them. The ocean is his home turf. Even a giant sea beast can't go against the Ocean Emperor. The blue tiger shark turned into a blurred image and tried to bite the clown. But the clown just stood there with his sword in hand, showing no signs of resisting. As the tiger shark was about to bite him, the Ocean Emperor couldn't help but clench his fist. As if his vision blurred, the tiger shark went through the clown and flew far away. The clown didn't seem to move at all, but in reality, he just moved a bit closer. As if the clown suddenly switched places with the tiger shark. How is that possible? Sea Emperor Li Dong Yuan blankly exclaimed. A space-type god's chosen skill, and the strongest kind at that martial Saint Zhang, Zongyang muttered. His mood was extremely heavy. If the clown can switch places with anything, then it's almost impossible to hit the clown with elemental spells. Then close combat is the only way. As soon as he moved, the Ocean Emperor had already rushed forward. The Ocean Emperor held a circle of blue light in each hand, charging straight at the clown. Watch out! The martial saint was afraid that something would happen to him, so he quickly followed. Facing two of the strongest professionists, the clown casually swung his sword. This swing completely sealed off the two generals' attack paths. Noticing the danger, the martial saint stopped in midair. But the Ocean Emperor didn't stop. Gu Qingshan only hesitated for a split second. The Earth Sword flipped over. The Ocean Emperor was lightly knocked away by the Earth Sword. He turned into a shooting star, flying towards the Yellow Sea. According to Impartial Goddess' latest information, a new sea beast has appeared there. The Ocean Emperor will soon reach the sea beast. He will begin his work. But Gu Qingshan was a bit confused. The Ocean Emperor's strength isn't weak, but he didn't notice my attack. This doesn't seem like the demeanor of a combatant. The Ocean Emperor is a combatant who spent most of his life fighting. How could he make such a rudimentary mistake? He silently thought. On the other side, Zhang Zongyuan had an unprecedentedly serious expression on his face. Such swordsmanship, he had thought of 7 to 8 different movement techniques, but none of them could get past that sword. This was an untraceable strike. But from the clown's appearance, he easily swung this strike. Being hit, the Ocean Emperor was only caught by the unstoppable force and sent flying away. He can't be hurt. I've never seen or heard of such swordsmanship in all my years of living. Thinking about it carefully, the clown's strength has surpassed the martial saint's understanding. A single strike was enough to send the entire interstellar warship into the canal. No spells or spells could hit it. Unparalleled swordsmanship. What else does the clown know? Where exactly did you come from? Zhang Zongyuan couldn't help but ask. If the clown had killing intent, the Ocean Emperor would have died just now. So the martial saint wasn't prepared to risk his life. Good question. Gu Qingshan praised. After thinking for a bit, he tapped his inventory bag and took out a small booklet. This was a martial arts cultivation method, a coherent cultivation method that he had organized himself. If a martial cultivator follows this scripture, they can cultivate from Qi training realm all the way to rejuvenation realm without any problems. This scripture isn't part of Bai Hua sex inheritance, but rather a widely known scripture, so he can pass it on without worry. He originally wanted Zhang Yongho to give it to the martial saint, but after he returned, Zhang Yongho was busy with business, so he didn't even get to see him. And now, I can give it to him myself. In the past life, I left the Federation a long time ago. At the time, I was so immersed in the game that I didn't know a lot of things. But he did hear about the martial saint's death. It was said that it was because of the internal politics of the Federation. The martial saint was sent to the front lines to fight against the demons, but he didn't receive any reinforcements. The martial saint fought against several terrifyingly powerful great demons, only to die in the end. The martial saint spent his entire life working hard for the Federation, only to meet such a tragic end. This was a matter that caused countless professionists to sigh. But in this life, with this martial scripture, Zhang Zongyuan's fate will definitely be different. Gu Qingshan threw the booklet to him. Zhang Zongyuan caught it, but he didn't flip through it and only asked, "What is this?" "It's a martial scripture for my world. You'll know once you see it," Gu Qingshan answered. "Why are you giving it to me?" Zhang Zongyuan asked. Gu Qingshan looked at Zhang Zongyuan, thinking about how he's a straightforward and warm-hearted person, a man who hates evil and never puts on airs. Even during the Federation's general election, there were a lot of people who wanted to support the martial saint as the new president. Aside from the Nine Lords, everyone else gave him a thumbs up. Perhaps this was his way of courting disaster. Gu Qingshan shook her head and said, "Peace was always decided by the general. The general should also see peace." Chapter 362. Gu Qingshan flew faster and faster, quickly disappearing into the horizon with a sonic boom. Zhang Zongyang stood in the sky, not giving chase. His emotions were complicated. At this point, the hollow brain in his chest pocket lit up as impartial goddess voice came. "General, all weapons have been disabled. The clown speed is too fast. There's a 91% chance that we won't be able to catch up to it. Preparing a fleet of combat shuttles to give chase." Find Zhang Zongyuan sighed, saying, "This is an unprecedented existence. Even if we catch up to it, we won't be able to gain anything." Impartial goddess was waiting for him to say that. The entire capital's garrison, even the warships in the sky, were all preparing to give chase. But as soon as the martial saint said that, all the machines shut down as if they were already prepared. But Martial Saint Zhang Zongyuan didn't know that much. He looked down at the book in his hand. Is this really a martial arts scripture from another world? He flipped the cover of the book and looked inside. As soon as he did, he couldn't pay attention to anything else. After reading through the first page, he couldn't help but mutter, "So there's such a thing." Zhang Zongyang stood in the sky, letting the hollow brain send countless messages, ring, and then disappear, all the way until nightfall. The martial saint's eyes never left the martial arts scripture. On the other side, Gu Qingshan found a secluded area and took off the murder clown armor. "Ho, finally filled up this hole." Gu Qingshan sighed in relief. "Sir, Yi Feili is returned to the graveyard," impartial goddess reported. "Got it." Saying so, Gu Qingshan fell into thought. "There are some things that I need to figure out myself." This was the first time in his 2 lives that he's seen the undead in reality. If the undead exist, then does reincarnation exist in this world? Or does people also go to Huang Quan after they die? He checked the direction and flew towards the graveyard. A few moments later, the graveyard. Yi Feili was sitting on the stairs in front of the graveyard, not going in. "Why aren't you going in?" Gu Qingshan asked. "It's not time yet." "I can't hear her voice," Yi Feili said. "How much longer?" 10 hours. Since it's still so early, Gu Qingshan looked him up and down and suggested, "It's not good for you to look so disheveled. Go back, take a shower, and dress properly before coming back." Yi Feili looked down at herself. His shirt was nowhere to be found. His body was splattered with bright red blood. His hands were also covered in congealed black blood. It was like coming out of a murder scene. In fact, it was. "You're right. This will scare her." Yi Feili agreed. "Let's go back first," he said. "You go back first. I still have something to do," Gu Qingshan said. "All right. I'll come alone from now on." Yi Feili stood up to leave. "Wait a minute. I'm going to ask you a question. You have to answer it seriously," Gu Qingshan said very seriously. "Go ahead." Seeing his serious expression, Yi Feili also became serious. "When you could hear her crying, did you hear anything else?" "Anything else?" "Nothing at all. Nothing at all," Gu Qingshan asked further. Looking at Gu Qingshan's serious expression, Yifei Li suddenly realized something. This was a very important question, perhaps even more important than this matter itself. He tried his best to recall and finally said, "That's right. Other than her voice, there seemed to be occasional noises, but I didn't pay attention to them, so they slowly disappeared. The two of them went silent." If Yifei Li didn't hear anything else because of his conscious rejection, then there might be other ghosts in this world. But if Yifei Li really only heard his girlfriends crying, then there was only a single ghost in this world. No matter which one it is, it'll reveal another side of this world. In both the past and present life, no human has ever come into contact with this side, because no human has ever awakened such a God's chosen skill. In this world, there were a few spirit-linked animals that did a lot of strange and inexplicable things. Some even guessed that they were able to communicate with other worlds. Perhaps it was because Yifei Li wasn't a human, but a man-killer fiend that the spirit-linked God's chosen skill awakened on him. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit, then said, "Next time you can hear her voice, try and see if you can hear other voices." "All right, I'll try," Yifei Li said. "There's one more important thing. What is it?" "Help me ask your girlfriend a question." "What question?" "Why did she stay here after she died and not go anywhere else?" "All right, when I'm done, I'll come find you and we'll ask her more. What do you want to do?" Yifei Li worriedly asked. "Don't worry, I'm just trying to understand the situation." Gu Qingshan patted his shoulder. He continued, "If we don't know what happened, then we won't be able to help her, that's true." Yifei Li nodded. Yifei Li then asked, "When will you come back?" "If everything goes smoothly, I'll probably need a day and a night to finish what I'm doing," Gu Qingshan answered. "Understood. I'll wait for you to come back," Yifei Li said. All right. 2 streaks of light flew to the sky, heading in 2 different directions. In the night sky, Gu Qingshan was flying. While flying, he asked, "How long has this rain been going on for?" 17 hours. The area of the rain has spread to the ocean," Impartial Goddess answered. "In other words, the entire planet is raining?" "Yes, sir," Gu Qingshan sighed, feeling a bit of a headache. Before the game of Eternal's descent, the rain only covered the human settlements. But this time, even the ocean is raining. The cold rain, sometimes heavy, sometimes light, has never stopped. "Fine, while it's still raining, I'll have to deal with my own matters first. Please help me find a secluded place within the Federation's borders," he said. "Sir, the destination has been set as the Great Masala Desert. Let's go an hour later." Gu Qingshan stood in the middle of the desolate desert. He looked up at the sky. Lightning illuminated the dark clouds as the rain of ice covered the sky. A few lines of glowing text appeared in his vision. "The Ascended Realm Tribulation is about to begin. Detected that the user has learned archery, swordsmanship, and unique elemental lightning. Please choose your Dao carefully." "I choose the sword," Gu Qingshan answered right away. The Dao of the sword is the most exclusive Dao. Once the user chooses the Dao of the sword, they must discard all other Daos. "Are you sure you want to choose the sword?" "Yes. The user has chosen the Dao of the sword. Throughout the entire Ascended Realm, a cultivator doesn't awaken a new thaumaturgy, only their own Dao. Once a cultivator chooses their Dao, the power of the laws of heaven and earth will prove it, helping the cultivator form their own Dao. For example, a sword cultivator who reaches Ascended Realm late stage is qualified to break through to Sainted Realm. But Sword Saint is a sword cultivator's Dao. It doesn't have much to do with cultivation. If a sword cultivator's swordsmanship isn't good enough, even if they reach Sainted Realm, they might not be able to become a Sword Saint. In the past life, Gu Qingshan's Dao of the Sword had already reached Sword Saint level. Unfortunately, he was only Ascended Realm middle stage, so he didn't have enough EXP to break through. That's why he didn't even qualify to break through to Sainted Realm. All players don't qualify to break through to Sainted Realm, because in the end, the EXP would reach an astronomical number that no human could ever reach. But in this life, Gu Qingshan can use soul points to level up. Very soon, he will awaken the Dao of the Sword Saint. One day in the future, he will also become the first human to reach Sainted Realm in reality. But that's all in the future. Right now, following Gu Qingshan's choice, Lines of glowing text quickly appeared on the War God UI. The Ascended Realm Tribulation has arrived. You must win against it to receive the heaven's reward and search for your own Tao. Rumble, rumble. Thunder boomed in the clouds. This is the might of the heavens, able to intimidate all living beings. The Ascended Realm Tribulation is at least twice as powerful as the Rejuvenation Realm Tribulation. Gu Qingshan didn't feel anything at all. Ever since he saw the 100 Flowers Fairy go through both the wind and lightning tribulations, he felt that the other tribulations were too easy. He also went through the Ascended Realm Tribulation in the past life. The most difficult part of this tribulation is its duration. It will last for a day and a night, testing both the cultivator's stamina and spirit. For a long period of time, being struck by lightning nonstop is even more of a torture. So, Gu Qingshan took out a small bag and took out a pair of wireless earphones. He put them on. How about some rock music? Impartial Goddess asked. No, something a bit more relaxing. A female solo or a piano piece will do, Gu Qingshan answered. Understood. The music started. A clear female voice slowly sang, like the sound of nature. Xie Shuangyan. That's right, her latest album. As they spoke, the first lightning bolt came. Gu Qingshan swung his sword at the tribulation lightning. Like stars, the lightning scattered everywhere. This song isn't bad, Gu Qingshan commented. This is the title song, Impartial Goddess reminded her. So that's why. Chapter 363. The bolts of lightning in the sky were getting denser and denser as they rained down. Gu Qingshan turned up the volume on his headset, unleashed a blinding sword phantom, flew up to the sky, and extinguished the bolts of lightning. This battle went on for over half a day. The lightning tribulation hasn't ended yet, but the rain suddenly stopped. Gu Qingshan's expression changed. It didn't stop earlier or later, but right when he was facing his tribulation, the rain stopped. Once the rain stops, the world will undergo an unknown change. A new monster, a new calamity will appear, devouring humanity's entire civilization. But right now, the tribulation lightning is at its densest. Even with Gu Qingshan's capabilities, he doesn't have the time to care about anything else. Gu Qingshan gritted his teeth and swung his hand to unleash a secret art. Drawn shadow. Countless black sword phantoms appeared out of nowhere, blooming like a flower, deflecting all the incoming bolts of lightning. It was only now that Gu Qingshan had the chance to take out his hollow brain. Impartial Goddess, I'm here, sir. Is it still raining all over the world? It's all stopped. Immediately gather all the satellites around the world and display any anomalies on my screen. Sir, everything is normal. There are no anomalies at all. Gu Qingshan was stunned. Nothing? How is that possible? In the past life, as soon as the rain stopped, a great calamity would immediately descend. Is there nothing yet? Everything is normal. As he spoke, the black sword phantoms scattered as the tribulation lightning once again rained down. Gu Qingshan couldn't help but put his hollow brain away and unleash sword phantoms to deflect the tribulation lightning. What the hell is coming? Damn it! Gu Qingshan complained in irritation, but he couldn't do anything. It wasn't raining, but the amount of tribulation lightning was silently increasing. Without a storm, the tribulation lightning would continue to descend. Gu Qingshan had no choice but to calm himself down and raise his sword again. Half an hour later, cold rain continued to fall from the sky, falling endlessly. It's raining. Gu Qingshan stood blankly in the middle of the rain, his heart still beating erratically. The rain continued to fall, pitter-patter. The raindrops were hitting the ground faster and faster, the sound getting louder and louder. The cold wind blew and the rain became heavier. The rain had clearly stopped. According to common sense from his previous life, a disaster was imminent, and there would not be any rain for a while. But now, the storm was rising again. Nothing like this had ever happened in his previous life. Could it be that one disaster was linked to another, erupting at the same time? Gu Qingshan was distracted and was almost struck by a tribulation lightning. The bolt of tribulation, lightning slipped through the gaps between the countless sword beams and pounced towards him in an overbearing manner. By the time Gu Qingshan reacted, it was already too late to raise her sword. Shadow shift. The tribulation lightning struck the ground behind him. Boom! The desert rose like a wave and fell with the dripping rain. I can't go on like this. I can't think about it anymore. Gu Qingshan knew that she shouldn't have lost her composure. When facing the lightning tribulation, one must correct their attitude and treat it seriously. They must not be distracted by thinking about the arrival of the disaster. He tapped his inventory bag. He put on a light golden general's battle armor. Impartial goddess, I'm here. Changed to a rock and roll style. Didn't you want some soothing music? I need to focus now, got it? The sound of drums, bass, and roars could be heard all at once. Gu Qingshan swallowed a spirit-replenishing pill. I don't have a time right now. Pay close attention to the world situation. As soon as anything out of the ordinary happens, tell me right away, Gu Qingshan said. Understood, Sir. Impartial goddess replied. Another bolt of tribulation lightning descended. Gu Qingshan wielded her sword to face the lightning and began to face the tribulation. Time slowly passed. A long day and night finally passed. When Gu Qingshan began his breakthrough, it was nighttime. When he finished, it was still nighttime. The tribulation clouds scattered. Only the icy rain continued to fall. Gu Qingshan closed his eyes for a bit, feeling the overwhelming power inside his body. After a while, he opened his eyes. From now on, he is an ascended realm cultivator. If he runs into the Pope again, Gu Qingshan won't need to run anymore. Even if the other party has a myriad of God's chosen skills, Gu Qingshan is a sword cultivator. One sword to break, all loss. Both sides can have a good fight to see who's stronger. Gu Qingshan stood still and waited for a few breaths worth of time. But his soul vessel didn't leave his body and head towards the space vortex. Strange, its wounds still haven't healed? Gu Qingshan muttered. This was a normal breakthrough. The 100,000 years old giant corpse didn't do anything to lure him into the space vortex. But Gu Qingshan wasn't used to this kind of breakthrough. Last time when it revealed its secret to me, the giant corpse was struck by the lightning. It seems its wounds are quite deep. Even now it still doesn't have the strength to summon me to see it. This time, Gu Qingshan owes it two favors. Not only the secret between worlds, but also by Hua Fairy's fate, it even gave him an opinion. Such an existence can only be imprisoned in a small world, unable to move at all. Who imprisoned it? Gu Qingshan shook his head, knowing that he doesn't have the qualifications to get involved in this matter. Only when I become stronger in the future will I be able to think of a way to save it. While Gu Qingshan was thinking, a clear chime was heard. Ting! The war god Yui's voice came. Detected user has successfully broken through to Ascended Realm. User's maximum soul points increased to 300. User can now awaken sword manipulation. Awakening sword manipulation costs 500 soul points. Would you like to unlock it? Sword manipulation is the foundation of a sword saint, the most basic and important skill. As long as you want to walk the path of sword saint, you must learn it. Gu Qingshan replied, Awaken. User has spent 500 soul points to awaken sword manipulation. User has remaining soul points. As user has learned sword manipulation, Secret Art Star Scar can now be awakened. Awakening Secret Art. Star Scar costs 110 soul points. Would you like to spend 110 soul points to awaken Secret Art? Star Scar. Awaken. User has remaining soul points to awaken Secret Art. Star Scar. Awakening both sword manipulation and Star Scar at once. Gu Qingshan's strength greatly increased. In this life, he has once again stepped into Ascended Realm, about to once again push open that door. Gu Qingshan recalled the memories in his mind. After a while, he suddenly formed a hand seal. Sword manipulation. The earth sword turned into a streak of light, dancing back and forth in the sky. Gu Qingshan formed another hand seal. 5 blinding sword phantoms appeared from the earth sword, like a meteor streaking across the sky. The light disappeared in a flash. Rumble, rumble. The desert was cut open by the sword phantoms. leaving 5 deep ravines. These 5 sword phantoms seemed to have pierced deep into the ground. The sand around them continued to fill in, but still couldn't fill up the ravines. This was the secret art star scar, which can only be activated through sword manipulation. At this point, Gu Qingshan has grasped a total of 7 secret arts, namely Water Flow Severance, Crescent Slash, 7 Stars Flowing Dragon, Drawn Shadow, Swallow Returns, Torrent, and Star Scar. Gu Qingshan's hand seal changed. The earth sword flew back into his hand. Gu Qingshan stood straight with the sword in hand, looking at the 5 ravines with a complicated expression. I've finally taken a small step towards becoming a sword saint. But using hand seals to summon swords is only the basics. As the saying goes, a sword saint can summon 1,000 swords with a single thought. In the cultivation world, so many Ascended Realm sword cultivators couldn't even become a sword saint. In history, there were Sainted Realm sword cultivators, but they couldn't be considered sword saints. This isn't a problem of cultivation. Only when one's swordsmanship reaches a certain level, their understanding and control of the sword reaches another level, can they become a sword saint. To become a sword saint, talent, comprehension, bone structure, luck, and hard work, not a single one can be lacking. In the entire cultivation world, there are billions of players, but there are only 10 sword saints. However, sword immortals rarely use their powers. Because the swordsmanship of a sword saint is extremely powerful, but it also consumes a lot of spirit energy. Someone once deduced that to fight in sword saint mode for 1 minute, you need to have at least the spirit energy of a Sainted Realm cultivator. But in the game, the amount of EXP required to reach Sainted Realm is too much. No player can ever reach Sainted Realm. That's why the power of a sword saint is usually only for a split second. After that, they won't have the strength to fight anymore. Even though you have powerful swordsmanship, you don't have enough spirit energy to support a sword saint's intense battle. This feeling of helplessness and defeat can drive a person crazy. Chapter 364. This life, Gu Qingshan didn't enter World's Apocalypse Online. Instead, he mysteriously obtained the War God UI. Gu Qingshan is no longer bound by game EXP. This life, he directly used soul points to advance. From now on, he will break through to Sainted Realm, then Projection Realm, Tribulation Realm, Virtualized Realm, Cryptic Realm. The terrifying power of a Sword Saint will finally be fully unleashed. Sword Saint, Gu Qingshan muttered with a nostalgic tone. He looked up at the sky. The cold rain didn't stop for a single second. Disaster is coming. On the other side, within the space vortex, I'm about to enter a world that's heading towards its end. There are countless enemies waiting for me there. One careless mistake, and I'll be doomed. The situation is dire. From now on, I have to become stronger as fast as possible. Gu Qingshan silently made up his mind. While he was thinking, a few lines of text appeared on the War God UI. Sword Saint Awakening Quest now begins. You must complete a series of quests to prepare yourself and regain your former strength as a Sword Saint. Quest 1. Obtain 2 swords. Quest begins. Reading these lines of text on the War God UI, Gu Qingshan understood a bit. 1 sword to attack, the other to defend. A sword saint, let alone being surrounded by swords, at the very least, a sword saint needs to have 2 swords. But I already have 2 swords. 1 earth sword, 1 Shaoyin sword. While he was thinking, a few more lines of text appeared on the quest. Quest 1. Obtain 2 swords, undamaged. Quest begins. Gu Qingshan silently nodded. The Shaoyin sword is heavily damaged. It's no longer suitable for intense combat. Will any sword in this world do? Gu Qingshan asked. The system replied. Only a sword that can withstand your attacks can be called a sword. Sure enough. Otherwise, when I return to the past, I could have easily awakened my memories by finding any sword. As for now, there are only 2 ways to solve this problem. The first is to go to the other world. After I've deceived myself and escaped from danger, I'll find sword. The second was to repair the Shaoyin sword from now on. Gu Qingshan pondered for a moment and made a decision. Back then, I promised the Chao Yin sword that I would repair it. A sword cultivator should not go back on his word to the sword spirit. From now on, he had to find a way to repair it. Furthermore, if he could fully awaken his sword immortal strength before heading to that world, his chances of survival would definitely increase greatly. Let's do it. Gu Qingshan took out a colorful sachet. The entire inheritance of Bai Hua sect was here. The 100 Flowers Fairy had collected all of the 6 arts in the cultivation world, and all of them were top-notch. There was even a complete refining room in the sachet. Gu Qingshan probed the sachet with her spiritual will and instantly found her target. Several jade scrolls that contained a method to refine swords appeared in his hands. On the War God UI, the War God skills icon flashed. Several notifications appeared on the War God UI. Discovered the following refining cultivation technique. General outline of refining. Complete record of sword embryo consciousness refinement. Gloom flame refinement technique. Melting flame refinement technique. Complete sword refinement technique. Complete weapon refinement technique. Please choose the scripture you wish to comprehend. Gu Qingshan asked, "Is there a cooldown period for learning smithing scriptures?" Ting. The system replied, "Learning the 6 arts will not cause the user's strength to skyrocket, nor will it put too much of a burden on the user's body. So there is no cooldown period." Gu Qingshan was overjoyed. "If that's the case, I want to comprehend all of these scriptures. To comprehend the above scriptures, the total cost is 1,100 soul points. Would the user like to pay the corresponding amount?" Pay. The user has spent 1,100 soul points to comprehend all of the above scriptures. The user's remaining soul points flowed one after another from the jade tag into Gu Qingshan's arm, finally converging in his thought sea. Because there were so many scriptures, it took Gu Qingshan a whole incense's worth of time to comprehend them all. He took out the Chao Yin sword and tossed it in the air. The Chao Yin sword hovered for a bit, then tried flying east, then west. It flew up into the sky, then slowly descended, sticking close to the ground as it flew. After a while, the Chao Yin sword finally landed next to Gu Qingshan. It let out a light woo-woo sound. "That's right, this isn't your original world," Gu Qingshan confirmed it. The Chao Yin sword curiously poked the sand on the ground. When it noticed that its entire sword body was slowly sinking into the sand, it panicked and pulled itself out. "No, this world isn't all like this," Gu Qingshan explained. "Of course I called you out, because there's something important. It's like this, although I know smithing techniques, I still need you to take a look at which materials are needed to repair you before I dare to use them." The Chao Yin sword nodded its hilt in agreement. "The materials of your world must have different names from mine. So, I need you to describe the appearance and characteristics of each material to determine which one to use." "That's right. After I've gathered all the materials, I'll begin to repair you." Hearing that, the Chao Yin sword excitedly flipped around in the air. Suddenly, a small glowing fish flew out from the sword hilt and swam around in the air. This was the sword spirit that Gu Qingshan met in the lava cave. The fish swam around, landed in front of Gu Qingshan, and lightly touched his forehead. The fish then went back into the Chao Yin sword. Gu Qingshan was a bit shocked, then muttered, "So it requires so many materials. That's not simple." Hearing that, the Chao Yin sword hurriedly circled around him. "Stop circling. I'm getting dizzy." Gu Qingshan chuckled. "Don't worry, I said I'll repair you. So I'll definitely do it. Don't worry. No one has touched any of this world's resources. There'll definitely be enough. Reality's cultivation resources aren't lacking compared to other worlds. But humans in reality never knew how to use these resources." Back to Gu Qingshan. Ever since his rebirth, he's always been busy trying to survive. Until today, when he finally has the ability to find these resources. He confidently said, "I should be able to repair you. Go rest first. I'll call you when the time comes." The Chao Yin sword let out a clear chime, then disappeared into the void of space. Gu Qingshan then closed his eyes and began to check his own situation. As he did, he found that his breathing was extremely messy. His spirit energy waves fluctuated between high and low. His breakthrough to the next realm was already complete, but his spirit energy was still in a turbulent state, which meant he couldn't continue breaking through. Gu Qingshan then put the jade tags into the 7-colored fragrance bag. When he was about to put the bag away, he suddenly remembered something. Wait a minute. Gu Qingshan looked at the 7-colored fragrance bag. This fragrance bag was made from 7 colored threads. It doesn't look like much, but it's impervious to fire and water. Nothing can damage it. When the 100 Flowers Fairy sensed her death, she gave all of her inheritance to Gu Qingshan. All of Bai Hua Sect's cultivation resources, including scriptures, are stored inside this fragrance bag. In other words, the divine skill Forgetting River is also inside. All of the elemental divine skills that the 100 Flowers Fairy knows, as well as the martial thaumaturgy divine skills, should be inside. Gu Qingshan suddenly became excited. Shifu gave everything to me, which means she's giving me permission to use the things inside. Gu Qingshan glanced at the War God UI. Remaining soul points is sufficient. If I don't learn it now, when will I? He immediately sent his inner sight into the fragrance bag to search for scriptures. After a while, Gu Qingshan's expression changed as he took out a jade tag. As he held the jade tag, a few notifications appeared on the War God UI. Huangquan Path Divine Skill, Forgetting River. To learn this divine skill, the following prerequisites must be fulfilled. A female cultivator, elemental 5th stage spirit energy talent, God's chosen skill. Soul Call, Secret Art, Sealed Body in Shift, Secret Art. Soul Comes Soul Goes, Samsara Divine Contract. Huangquan Ferryman. Reading through it, Gu Qingshan helplessly shook his head. I don't meet the first one. The second one, I don't meet the 5 elements. The third one is a God's chosen skill. This is a gift from the heavens. I can't learn it even if I wanted to. The 4th, 5th, and 6th each have a single line of explanation. Secret Art, Sealed Body in Shift. You enter a state of death, no different from any other dead person in the world. Secret Art. Soul comes, soul goes. After you die, your soul will enter Huangquan and be able to return. Some sort of divine contract. Huangquan Ferryman. You have formed a life force contract with the Forgetting River Ferryman. The Forgetting River Ferryman represents the law of heaven and earth. It will respond to your summoning. Reading through it again and again, Gu Qingshan couldn't help but sigh. So to learn a Samsara divine skill, there are so many powerful prerequisites. No wonder Shifu didn't teach me this. At the beginning, when Shifu taught me ground shrink, she said something. My other spells all have a lot of limitations, requiring many years to find a corresponding elemental root and hand seals. Seems like I'm not fated to learn this divine skill. However, Shifu knows quite a few divine skills. If I can't learn this one, I'll have to look at other divine skills. Gu Qingshan put the jade tag back and continued to look for more spells. Following that, he found Void Spirit Seeker, Sky Collapse, Unbreakable Mountain Range, and even the Azura divine skill, Virokana. But these divine skills all have a lot of prerequisites to learn. Only Sky Collapse is a martial divine skill that doesn't have any prerequisites. But Gu Qingshan carefully thought about it and decided not to learn it. Quite a few professionists have the ability to learn all kinds of spells at the same time. Sword cultivators are different from other professions. Aside from special spells, they hate martial arts the most. As a sword cultivator, learning a fist technique is a huge hindrance to the path of a sword cultivator. For a sword cultivator, the most ideal thing is to learn a supportive divine skill, like ground shrink or shadow shift. Special Samsara divine skills are also fine, but unfortunately, the prerequisites to learn them are too strict. I don't fit the bill. The Azura divine skill, Virokana, has a total of 19 prerequisites. Gu Qingshan only glanced through it once before giving up. He put the spells and divine skills back into the fragrance bag and temporarily stopped thinking about it. Chapter 365. Gu Qingshan turned on her hollow brain and began to input the relevant information. Repairing the Chaoyin sword requires a few dozen materials, all of which are extremely rare and precious. So Gu Shan isn't sure if this world has all of them. Even the cultivation world wouldn't be able to claim that they have all of the required materials for Shunwu World's ancient sword. Right now, he could only collect and see. Black mystic stone. Its entire body is black and shiny, and its surface is uneven. It emits light when encountering fire and shrinks into a ball when encountering water. Press square cold iron, a stone from 10,000 meters under the sea. It has existed for at least 100,000 years. Its surface is blue and green, and it will expand under high temperatures. Sun-moon blood, the essence of falling stars. Its color is translucent and overflowing with color. Once it's formed, it will never be worn away. After a quarter of an hour, Gu Shan had finished recording all the required materials for the Chowyin sword. I'll have to trouble you. These things might not be sold in the world. I'll need to search for them to find them, he said. Don't worry, sir. I will quickly send a search robot to search, Impartial Goddess replied. Gu Shan turned her attention to the outside world. Impartial Goddess, are there any strange occurrences in the world? He asked. Please wait a moment, Impartial Goddess replied. Anywhere on this planet where humans exist, they would not be able to survive. All the equipment that could capture images was quietly turned on to observe the situation around them. Although sea beasts would come ashore from time to time, humans had accumulated enough experience in dealing with these mindless monsters and gradually found a set of effective ways to deal with them. Even though the man-eater fiends could not be completely eradicated, the corresponding defensive measures were put in place. The professionists and mobile mechs worked together to keep an eye on the situation at all times. The entire human society suffered heavy losses, but order was gradually restored. There were no other strange things happening in the world. Impartial Goddess gaze returned to space. She mobilized hundreds of satellites to observe the entire planet and the situation around it. In the dark and cold universe, those terrifying space zergs dragged their huge bodies that were comparable to planets and moved slowly among the stars. Still, no monsters had discovered the planet where humans were. Impartial Goddess then used the global weather satellites to monitor the weather conditions of the entire planet. On the human planet, accompanied by the icy rain, the weather became colder and colder. The temperature continued to drop, and rivers and lakes began to freeze. Ice formed. The surface of the water slowly froze. This was a normal natural phenomenon. It was the general law of climate development, and there was nothing unusual about it. Impartial Goddess observed for a bit. After confirming that there were no abnormalities in the water, she stopped monitoring. However, in a place where the machine could not monitor, at the bottom of a large river in a sunken water cave, bits and pieces of ice were slowly condensing. The speed at which the frost condensed was so slow that even the fish that swam by did not react at all. In the desert, no abnormalities detected. Impartial Goddess reported to Gu Shan. Gu Shan was a little uncertain. That was strange. Could it be an accident? But in his previous life, such a thing had never happened. He was puzzled. Perhaps it was really an accident. If anything out of the ordinary happens, let me know, Gu Shan said. That was all they could do now. Don't worry, sir. I will inform you immediately, Impartial Goddess replied. Also, something happened in space. I want to inform you. What is it? A small-sized interstellar warship is trying to board the SW Divine Temple. Have they been identified? They are all military officers of the Federation. What do they want? I've already warned them, but they showed us the maintenance procedures, Gu Shan asked. According to the relevant regulations, the SW Divine Temple is usually maintained by automated robots. Manual maintenance usually takes a few years. Could it be that the time is up? The timing is just right, but the people who came are different from the last time. What did you notice? This time, other than space mechanical engineers, there's also a powerful professionist. Impartial Goddess pulled out the list of people and their ID, then drew a red circle on one of them. Navy Colonel Zhang Yong, 4th-tier God's Chosen, has the ability to create a miniature independent space. Hearing that, Gu Shan scowled. Normally, Only space mechanical engineers would participate in the S.W. Divine Temple's maintenance. So why is there a professionist this time? What are they trying to do? Impartial Goddess spoke. I'm about to reject their visit. Do you have any objections, sir? Gu Qing Shan muses a bit, then said, how about we take a look at their goal? Please arrange it, sir. Find a valid reason. Have them wait. Activate the S.W. Divine Temple's automated robots. We'll begin to construct a false impression. Understood. Also, send me to a low Earth orbit satellite. I'll provide support at any time. Yes, sir. A few minutes later. The small-sized interstellar warship. How is it? Did Impartial Goddess allow us to board? The warship's commander asked. The communications officer answered. Impartial Goddess has approved, but the S.W. Divine Temple is currently undergoing a full self-inspection, estimated to be 35 minutes before we can board. Is that normal? The commander asked the space mechanical engineer. It couldn't be more normal. The longest we've ever waited was 1.5 days, the engineer answered. You're the expert. I trust your judgment, the commander nodded. 35 minutes later, the small-sized interstellar warship activated and entered the S.W. Divine Temple. A total of 13 S.W. Divine Temple engineers in uniform finally boarded. After going through layers upon layers of verification and strict inspection, from their hair to their tools to ensure there's no danger, they were finally allowed to enter the middle section of the S.W. Divine Temple. Deep inside the S.W. Divine Temple, 18 blazing angel mechs armed to the teeth were waiting. If anything happens, they'll be responsible for cleaning up. But these people didn't do anything out of line. They did their job diligently. Even the Marine Colonel was doing a very good job. Seems like he's also gone through a series of strict mechanical training. Gu Qing Shan stared at the screen, carefully observing the Marine Colonel. Let me see what exactly you're trying to do, he muttered. Under his gaze, the man meticulously completed his work. He worked for 4 hours, only wiping his sweat once in the middle of it. Gu Qing Shan silently watched for 4 hours without moving. After 4 hours, the space mechanical engineers finished their work and boarded the small-sized interstellar warship to leave. 3 hours, 37 minutes, 59 seconds. He seems to have placed something near the large-scale power supply system, Gu Qing Shan commented. Searching for the corresponding image, Impartial Goddess answered. Bring up the image on the screen. The Marine Colonel had just finished his job, wiping the sweat off his neck. He was standing next to the energy pool that Impartial Goddess used. Stop, Gu Qing Shan said. The image froze. Zoom in on his right hand. The image focused on the man's right hand. A fingernail-sized black box was in his hand. Move forward 1 second. The image didn't change at all, but the black box in the man's hand disappeared. Move back 2 seconds. There was nothing in the man's hand. How interesting, Gu Qing Shan smiled. Nothing can be brought into the S.W. Divine Temple. But this man used his God's chosen skill to create a small pocket dimension and brought a fingernail-sized object inside. Unable to determine what the object is, unable to determine where it went. Same here, sir. What now? Chapter 366. I agree with your analysis, sir, but we don't have a way to take it out, Impartial Goddess answered. That's right. The God's chosen skill activated too quickly. He really did come here to cause trouble, Gu Qing Shan commented. According to my analysis, the only way to affect the energy pool is by using a nano bomb. That's most likely the case, Gu Qing Shan smiled and continued. Fortunately, everything here is only an illusion that we created, so no matter what he did, he wouldn't be able to blow up your real energy reservoir. So what do we do next? Impartial Goddess asked. According to your procedure, notify the 3 army commanders. According to the Federation's legal procedures, capture him and put him on trial. I bet we won't be able to get any information. He'll disappear before he's caught. What is your opinion? Use the most powerful special grade materials to isolate this area. And then? Wait and see what their goal is, Gu Qing Shan answered. Following Sir Gu Qing Shan's suggestion, Impartial Goddess answered. Gu Qing Shan nodded, saying, It's getting late. Send me back. Very well, sir. Also, Zhang Young Ho, Liao Xing, Yifei, Li, and Anna have all left messages. Gu Qingshan was surprised. It took me a full day and night to break through, then 4 to 5 hours to keep an eye on those people. During that time, he turned off his communicator. All right, let me hear it. Liao Xing's loud voice came. Boss, I don't really understand these scriptures. Can I trouble you to come back and give me a suggestion so I can categorize them and record them into the system? Gu Qingshan pressed the switch button. Within the commotion, Zhang Youngho shouted into his communicator. What exactly is going on with Yifei Li? He doesn't care about the methods he used to kill people, causing such a ruckus on TV. I had no choice but to come back early to cover up his tracks. Even Zhang Youngho doesn't know the specifics of the situation. It seems the murder clown's appearance was covered up by the Martial Saint and the Federation. This is to avoid social panic. After going through the game of Eternal, the murder clown had become a symbol of fear for humanity. The clown could no longer make people laugh. Around the world, many circus clowns have lost their jobs and changed careers. Gu Qingshan pondered. What did Zhang Youngho do? He convinced the Secret Service of the Federation and found a few senators to propose a government resolution. What resolution? To avoid widespread panic, the government announced that what happened that morning was a mock attack by man-killer fiends. Who would believe that? All the government departments made a joint statement. He also asked me, so I also made a statement. If you prove it, people will probably believe it. The Wang family is looking for Yifei Li like crazy. Have they made any progress? Not at the moment. That's good. Gu Qingshan pressed the switch button again. Anna's voice sounded, I'm fine. I'm on a long journey. Take care of yourself and wait for my return. He pressed the switch button again. Yifei Li's voice came again. During that hour, I could indeed hear the voices of other dead souls. But only if I want to hear what they're saying. It's very complicated. You should come back and we'll talk about it in detail. Hearing that, Gu Qingshan's expression became serious. Anything that involves ghosts can't be underestimated. If they can find out what happens after death, it'll be a milestone in humanity's understanding of the world. So many things happen one after another. So much so that Gu Qingshan couldn't leave reality to go to that foreign world. Looking at the dates of these messages, even the most recent one was from half a day ago. Thinking for a bit, Gu Qingshan decided not to leave for now. Since there are so many things to do, I'll take advantage of the time before the rain stops and deal with reality first. Only when the calamity arrives and is dealt with will I be able to leave in peace. At the same time, before going to that world, I need to make some preparations. He first contacted Zhang Youngho. What is it? It's nothing. I'm going to take a nap. I just finished work. I'm so tired. Zhang Youngho was still sleepy. I want to go to your Hitman Guild to learn a few things, Gu Qingshan said. What? You want to join my guild? Are you serious? Zhang Youngho immediately woke up. That's right. I probably want to learn a few skills. Yifei Li also needs to come, Gu Qingshan said. Then come back. I'll wait for you in the living room, Zhang Youngho said. All right, the call ended. Impartial goddess, I think I'll need a type of genetic-level plastic surgery, Gu Qingshan said again. Like Liao Xing's. That's right, but it won't be permanent. I need to return to my original appearance. That's simple. What do you want to look like? Like this, saying so. Gu Qingshan formed a hand seal. It's the most basic spirit camouflage technique. It doesn't have any power. Any normal cultivator can use it. With a flash of light, the image of the virtualized realm cultivator Qi Yin appeared in the air. This was a 3D image of a person. Every single detail of Qi Yan's appearance was recreated, very lifelike. Impartial goddess spoke. I've recorded it, beginning to calculate the genetic arrangement of a human's appearance. Thank you. I'm at your service. Gu Qingshan returned to the mountaintop mansion. Opening the door, the three of them were already there. Liao Xing was sitting on the sofa, drinking beer while watching the news on TV. Zhang Youngho was scolding Yifei Li. That was a national live broadcast. He was giving a speech for his councilman election, but you flew up to grab him and cut him up while crying. Do you really think everyone is blind? I'm telling you, this is going to get out of hand. Zhang Youngho was furious, saying, My dear brother, how can you kill someone like that? You should have waited until the live broadcast ended. where you could have blown up the live broadcast equipment and assassinated him. That would have been 10,000 times better. Yi Fei Li lowered her head without saying a word. Gu Qingshan patted Yi Fei Li's shoulder and sat down on the sofa. I forgot to ask you if it felt good, he said. It did. Yi Fei Li smirked. Zhang Youngho realized something and asked, Wait a minute, did you allow him to do that? I'm sorry. I'll be more careful from now on. Gu Qingshan smiled apologetically. Both of you stop. I'm going to complain first. Liao Xing raised his hand. Gu Qingshan looked at him. This brother moved an entire tombstone and placed it in his room. Can you imagine? I'm still scared to death. Liao Xing still had a look of disbelief on his face as he spoke. She didn't move the coffin? Gu Qingshan turned to ask. She attached herself to the tombstone. As soon as the tombstone moved, she moved with it. Yi Fei Li answered. Then what about her body? So I cremated her and put her ashes away. It's also in my room, Yi Fei Li explained. Zhang Youngho opened his mouth, unable to understand what the two of them were talking about. Liao Xing moved his but a bit further away from the sofa. That's good. This place is much better than the graveyard. And with you to talk to her, she won't be lonely, Gu Qingshan agreed. Yi Fei Li smiled, showing a satisfied expression. The other two were dumbfounded. This time, even Zhang Youngho started to move his butt. I'm going to the toilet. Saying so, Liao Xing stood up to run away. Wait a minute. It's not what you think it is, Gu Qingshan hurriedly said. Liao Xing carefully looked at him, only to see that his expression was calm, his tone was calm. He didn't look like he was bewitched. Gu Qingshan's way of doing things was very reasonable. Liao Xing trusted him, so his heart relaxed. Zhang Youngho also calmed down. What's going on? Zhang Youngho asked. Before Gu Qingshan could answer, Yi Fei Li hurriedly explained. After she died, I could always hear her crying, so I went to the graveyard to bring her soul back here, dead. Cries. Ghosts a cold breeze seemed to blow through the air. Yi Fei Li continued. Perhaps she's watching us from the side, but I can't see her. Wait until I hear her voice. Then I can introduce her to you this time. Let alone Liao Xing. Even Zhang Youngho couldn't sit still. Zhang Youngho cleared his throat. I just remembered, I still have something to take care of. I'll be going first. He was held down by Gu Qingshan. You're a hitman, a person who kills people every day. What are you afraid of? Gu Qingshan asked. I have countless ways to kill people, but I don't know how to kill ghosts. Zhang Youngho wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. It's fine. She's Yi Fei Li's girlfriend. Don't think too much about it. Girlfriend? Zhang Youngho and Liao Xing both shouted at the same time. Their hearts started to tremble. A living person dating a ghost? No. To be more specific, this is a man-killer fiend dating a ghost. Although they're both ghosts, they're still crossing the line between the yin and yang. Not good. This is too terrifying, completely beyond human understanding. What exactly happened? Zhang Youngho gathered his courage and asked. Gu Qingshan then told them everything from start to finish. After understanding the girl's situation before and after death, as well as the whole story, the two of them finally calmed down. Zhang Youngho muses, if that's the case that Wang Ming Zhe really should be killed, Liao Xing suddenly shouted excitedly. So there really are ghosts in this world? This is the greatest discovery in the history of science. We should form a research team to study ghosts. Yi Fei Li glanced at him. He pressed down on Liao Xing's shoulder. That's my girlfriend. Do you really want to study her? A blood-red glow came from his body, slowly enveloping Liao Xing. This glow had killed quite a few champions of Eternal before. Liao Xing was someone who knew his stuff, so he hurriedly tried to retreat. But he was being held down by Yi Fei Li, unable to move at all. Seeing the red glow getting closer, Liao Xing hurriedly said, Ahaha, I was just joking, I wouldn't dare. If you ever have such thoughts again, you definitely have to tell me, Yi Fei Li lightly said. Don't worry, it definitely won't happen again. Liao Xing was already soaked in cold sweat. After dealing with this old bastard, Yi Fei Li clasped her hands together and sincerely said, I just want to be with her. Please let me go. Gu Qingshan looked at Zhang Youngho, only to find that Zhang Youngho was also looking at her. I have no objections, Gu Qingshan said. There are quite a few hitman secrets in my room that I can't let outsiders see. Zhang Youngho crossed his arms and said. Yi Fei Li made a begging expression. Gu Qingshan silently signaled Zhang Youngho with her eyes. Zhang Youngho helplessly replied, but it doesn't matter if it's a ghost, because she won't tell any secrets to a living person. Yi Fei Li was overjoyed and looked at Liao Xing, seeing the two big shots say that. Liao Xing knew that the matter was settled. He had no choice but to seriously remind him. Tell your girlfriend not to run around at night. Otherwise, if she sees something she shouldn't see and gets scared, don't blame me. Chapter 367. Can't scare her? Brat, my miniature warp device is related to space-time. If your girlfriend gets sucked into it and gets lost, don't blame me, Liao Fan said. All right, I understand. I'll tell her about it. Yi Fei Li took this seriously. And so, this matter was decided. Thank you, everyone. Yi Fei Li was happy. Then, Yi Fei Li, you have to listen to me, Zhang Youngho said. Go ahead. Yi Fei Li's attitude couldn't be any nicer. You killed people for a reason, so I won't say anything about it. But every profession has its own taboo. These taboo are the conclusions of our predecessors. They can help us avoid dangerous situations. So you'll have to learn from me, Zhang Youngho said. I'm a man-killer fiend. Do I also need to learn how to assassinate? Yi Fei Li asked. Zhang Youngho didn't say anything and only stared at him. Fine, Yi Fei Li compromised. Zhang Youngho looked at Gu Qingshan and asked, if you want him to learn from me, what about you? I also have to join, and I'll need your full support, Gu Qingshan said. Zhang Youngho calmed down and asked, what happened? I've never seen you so serious before, Gu Qingshan answered. I have to perfectly impersonate a certain person to achieve my goal. Do you have any relevant information on this person? Zhang Youngho asked. I do. Appearance can be solved with genetic technology, but a person's voice contains their voice, tone, emotions, and personal habits. You'll need to go through professional training, Zhang Youngho said. That's why I came to find you. Gu Qingshan smiled. Zhang Youngho continued. That's no problem. I'll arrange it. What do I need to do? Gu Qingshan asked. You have to go through training first. You have to learn to control your tone, movements, and expressions. You must not make any mistakes in your behavior. All right. Only then can you start to try to put yourself in that person's shoes and make others think that you are him. Zhang Youngho continued. I will arrange it now. We will start training tomorrow. Thank you. This matter is very important to me. Gu Qingshan said seriously. We're on the same side. No need to thank me. If anything happens to my team in the future, just tell me out. That's a must. At this time, Liao Xing said, look at the news. The three of them turned around and looked at the projected screen. An important piece of news was being urgently broadcasted on the news. His Excellency the President was mobilizing the party for himself before the election, but in the end, he was assassinated by a powerful force at the party dinner. Fortunately, the assassin was caught in time. After a doctor's examination, Mr. President's body was fine. The president indicated that he would continue to seek re-election. Although there was a problem with the councilor election yesterday, the Federation's presidential election will still be held as scheduled. The election is currently the most important matter for the entire Federation. Unless something unexpected happens, it will not be postponed. Another assassination attempt. Our Excellency the President has been through a lot, Liao Xing said. Why is that? Yi Fei Li curiously asked. Zhang Youngho explained. He's always been pushing for the genetic serums to be popularized, wanting everyone to accept profession as genetic modification. The genetic serums are in the hands of the Nine Lords, Gu Qingshan said. That's why it's no surprise that he's been assassinated so often, Zhang Youngho said. Yi Fei Li said, I'll tell you the truth. I really hate the Nine Lords, but the entire Federation was created by them, Zhang Youngho shrugged. Gu Qingshan opened the blinds and stared at the heavy rain outside. Impartial Goddess has remained silent. This means that everything is normal. There's no earth-shattering calamity in the world. Perhaps the rain stopping that time was just a coincidence. Gu Qingshan sighed. That's good. I still have time to prepare. Gu Shan was silently thinking about his own matters, not paying attention to the rain outside the window. He also didn't notice that the glass was reflecting the scene in the room, showing everyone's expressions. Liao Xing's expression was a bit strange. He was staring at the president on the TV screen, squinting his eyes. Did I see it wrong? Liao Xing muttered. After the news, the president began to make a nationally televised speech to warm up the election. Gu Shan turned off the TV. Now, let's talk about the main topic he called everyone. A few large scripture books appeared on the tea table. These are the scriptures I'm giving you. Practice them well, Gu Shan said. If I learn this, will I be able to fly like you? Zhang Yongho asked with interest. Sure, Gu Shan answered. Zhang Yongho quickly took the one that belonged to him. If I learn this, will I be able to see her like you? Yi Fei Li's eyes were full of desire. Sure, Gu Shan answered. Yi Fei Li took the one that belonged to her and began to read it. If I learn this, I'll be able to improve my abilities? Liao Xing glanced at the scripture books on the tea table and asked. Gu Shan replied, Of course, this is an evolution on the level of a living being. Any kind of ability is fine. Liao Xing then took the one that belonged to him and carefully flipped to the first page. I've spent a lot of time picking them out for you. I've written down all the things that you need to pay attention to. If you really don't understand anything, just ask me, Gu Shan told him. Thank you, Zhang Yongho and Yi Fei Li both said at the same time. Hurry up and practice it. No one knows what the future of the world will be like. You need to become stronger, Gu Shan told them. Liao Xing said that you've prepared over 1,000 scriptures, Zhang Yongho asked. What are you planning to do? I'm going to find an opportunity, together with our bracelets, to give it to humanity as a whole, Gu Shan answered. Then wouldn't the sky be filled with flying people? No one would use shuttles anymore, Zhang Yongho commented. You're overthinking it. Flying by yourself isn't as comfortable as shuttles, and cultivation isn't simple. Not everyone can reach the realm of flying, Gu Shan told him. Everyone silently nodded. Tisich, these things are so simple, not even half as complicated as my warp technique. Liao Xing looked at the scripture and scoffed. There's only a few hundred acupoints on the acupoints diagram. I can memorize them with just a glance, he pridefully said. You're a scientist, so of course your thinking is a bit better, but your body is too worn out, so your cultivation speed might not be as fast, Gu Shan told him. Worn out? I didn't do anything, and it's been a long time since I touched a woman. Liao Xing didn't believe her. Gu Shan looked at him seriously, then muttered, That's strange, you still seem a bit weak. Liao Xing remembered something. He silently took his scripture book, stood up, and went back to his room. What week? I'll make it up after a good night's sleep, Liao Xing suddenly said. Bang! The door was slammed shut. The three of them exchanged glances, then continued to talk. Yi Fei Li, how much longer until you can hear your girlfriend's voice? Gu Shan finally asked. Probably tomorrow, Yi Fei Li answered. Then can you hear other voices? I can, Yi Fei Li answered. During that hour, as long as I want to, I can hear the voices of dead souls. Before, because I was only thinking about her, I ignored the voices of other dead souls. So that's how it is. Are there a lot of dead souls in this world? Gu Shan asked. That's the strange part. What I don't understand is, Yi Fei Li said. Wait a minute, Zhang Yongho cut him off. The two of them looked at Zhang Yongho. It's already so late. It's a bit scary to talk about this. We need to get something to drink, Zhang Yongho said. You're a hitman. Why are you afraid of ghosts? Yi Fei Li asked. I'm not afraid. I can't help but feel nervous, Zhang Yongho replied. Let's drink a bit, Gu Shan agreed. Zhang Yongho went to get 3 glasses and opened a bottle of liquor. Cheers! The three of them knocked their glasses together and drank it all at once. The burning sensation spread from their throats to their chests. Gu Shan sighed. Zhang Yongho clicked his tongue. Yi Fei Li scowled. Zhang Yongho then filled up the 3 glasses. Yi Fei Li continued, Since I can hear the voices of dead souls when I want to, there should be a lot of voices in my ears. Of course, Zhang Yongho gulped down another glass. For countless years, so many people have died in this world. If you can hear the voices of all the dead, you'll probably die from a noise that you're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.